Hello and welcome to Mock the Week. I'm Jara Breen, and joining this week are Andy Parsons, Ed Byrne and Russell Howard, Frankie Boyd, Hugh Dennis and Stuart Francis. We start with a round called Headliners. Here's a picture of former US President Bill Clinton on a surprise visit to North Korea. But what does CSAR stand for?
Is it communist suits are rubbish?
He looks like he should be sitting on the end of a pencil.
Perhaps he is.
For the first half hour, Clinton thought that he'd met the janitor.
Is it Korea spelt all wrong?
Is it cigar salesman and rent boy?
It's actually their superhero names. It's Captain Shag and Admiral Rompersuit.
Is it Clinton and Shag anyone, really?
Is it cautious start at rave? Nobody wants to be first,
Nobody wants to be first in the race. Everything's going. There's always one guy with a whistle. Come on out the floor.
Maybe it's what he packed. Charlie, Zambuca, absinthe and rubbers.
Can't stand Annie Lennox. I like the rhythmics, but solo stuff, no.
Have you a correct answer?
Is it Clinton secures some things release?
No, the R stands for reporters.
Clinton saves American reporters.
That's close enough. Well done, Ed Byrne. Yes, the answer I was looking for was Clinton saves American reporters. This is a story that Bill Clinton flew to North Korea on a private mission, which successfully secured the release of female American journalists Laura Ling and Yuna Lee, who had been found guilty of entering North Korea illegally and sentenced to 12 years hard labour. So why did Bill go? Why did Bill get to...
Basically, he'd used up all the women currently in America, and he's had to go abroad to round up any stragglers.
Wonderfully charismatic, because he's a bit like the wolf from Pulp Fiction. He's a little bit like the Fonz, but he's a massive dollop of Quagmire from Family Guy, isn't it? You just imagine that as soon as you just imagine him stepping off the plane. I've got the ladies, giggity.
The flight actually out of North Korea was delayed because Clinton went to duty-free to get some cigars.
Look how cross Clinton is on that there. Al Gore's got the lady, Clinton's furious.
So, to be honest, Clinton looks like he's rubbing his hands going, that's right, baby, get her ready.
Just how I taught you, just how I taught you.
He's warming them up like a safecracker.
The two journalists in question, one of whom, Laura Ling, is the sister of Lisa Ling, who is the host of the American version of Loose Women, which means essentially this entire mission was held to rescue one of the Nolans. And I could imagine that Kim Jong-un would be a huge fan of the Nolan as well. I'm in the mood for dancing, romancing, because I'm so lonely.
All this talk about Clinton, you're thinking he was president for 8 years, he had loads of policies, he did one sexual misdemeanour, and that's all anybody remembers. And then you think at this point, surely Gordon Brown, he should actually do a sexual misdemeanour. Otherwise, people are just going to remember his actual policies.
I think it's a bit dodgy, though, that like Hillary Clinton, who's, you know, still actually, like, works in the government, who's the Secretary of State, asked for these women to be released, was on the phone to North Korea, asked for these women to be released, and nothing doing. And it's like her husband just stepped in and went, sorry, love, I'll handle this. Don't you worry your pretty little head about it. I'll deal with those nasty Korean men. You do your secretary job.
Apparently, as a president, he's got to be called Mr. President forever, which has got to be particularly annoying for Hillary. Oh, I'm so sad I didn't get the nomination. I'm so sad I didn't get the nomination, Mr. President.
Talking of names, Kim Jong-il, every time you hear that, it just sounds like he's describing himself, you know? Yeah. Kim Jong-il, Kim Jong-hungry, Kim Jong-lonely. That's all you're thinking.
Is there any danger that Bill Clinton only went because the words Pyongyang sounds like Nicaragua?
I feel bad for the girls, because they got to share a long-haul flight with Bill Clinton, and then they fly into renowned womanizer Bob Hope Airport. Who was their baggage handler? Jude Law?
You know, the reason everybody's worried about North Korea, though, and what they were hoping that Bill Clinton would be talking about, is their nuclear weapons program, isn't it? Do you know what their missile is called? Do you know what the North Korean missile is called? It's called the no-dong missile. The
thing is, why
his problem is it can't stay up long enough.
That's the point, isn't it? That's the point with North Korea. You know, they're not really a threat, are they? You know, all these missiles go up and they sort of, you know, explode about 3 seconds after takeoff. You think the biggest threat from North Korea probably is to North Korea itself, isn't it?
That's funny. Exactly what they want you to think.
Yeah, who are they?
The North Koreans.
Yeah.
But Pete, all right, steady you two. Sexual tension in this room.
It's the younger James May. He's getting me going.
As a dictator, he's not going to have understood Clinton and all the sort of stuff that he's got to put up with. What's that, Clinton? You nearly got impeached for having a blowjob? I'm having a blowjob right now. I've got a tiny gymnast in my trouser legs.
It's a very good thing that Berlusconi and Clinton never served at the same time, because they'd be holding the G8 in places like Spearmint Rhino, wouldn't they?
Why, by the way, while we're on American politics, why is there controversy at the moment over Barack
This is
Obama?
unbelievable. Barack Obama is trying to get free healthcare for 46 million people in America, and this has made him unpopular in America, which is incredible, isn't it?
In fairness, those 46 million people are all dicks.
Well, Ed's become a Republican.
It's not a disaster for Obama, exactly, is it? Because he's got an approval rating of 50%.
Yes.
Gordon Brown would kill for an approval rating of 50%. If Gordon Brown discovered a cure for cancer, actually baked everybody individually a cake and discovered oil under his own house, he would still have a popularity rating on a par with Gary Glitter.
It is generally a case that they think that Brown, as we were discussing, can do nothing, right? I mean, Brown is currently in the Lake District. At some stage during his holiday, he will find a chain and go, oh, what is this? Pull it. And the Lake District will drain out. How unlucky he is, right? Yeah, probably.
I feel sorry for Obama because he's still got to fight the innate racism of Americans, hasn't he? I mean, do you see his first speech when he got made president and they put all that bulletproof glass up in front of him? I think that shows you how racist America still is. Just because he's black doesn't mean he's going to shoot anybody. Basically, Obama's got in, he's had a look at the economy, he's had a look at what his general public are actually like, and he's got a new slogan, turns out we can't.
Bring it back to here, actually. Who's running the country at the moment?
Mandelson, Peter Mandelson, Darth Mandelson.
Yes.
Do you know what nobody ever says about him? He's gay, and he's a lord. He's a gay lord.
It's always there, to be honest.
He's been running the country, but he's been in Corfu, then we're getting handed over to Alistair Darling, to Jack Straw. We're like the school hamster. I wouldn't be surprised if Alistair Darling leaves our gate open and we're found dead under a bookcase. Basically, we're 2 car crashes and a vomiting virus away from Andy Townsend running the country. Hi, I'm Andy Townsend. I've got the vomiting virus, so I'm handing over to Chris Akabusi.
Nobody's running the country. And the papers have roughly the same tone you have, which is, nobody's running the country, as if the country is heading towards rocks and somebody has to steer it away. In the last month, right, the FTSE has gone up 10% since they all went on holiday. The weather is better and the football starts at the weekend. So frankly, I think it's working out fine without them in charge.
Hey, get rid of them all, kill them all, install the clangers, at least we'll get soup.
There were some beautiful photos of Mandelson on holiday that were just so lovely. Proper British man red. Did you see any of those? He looked like he'd been left on a George Foreman grill. And some of the photos of him as well, the clothes he's wearing, he looked like he'd just been fried and then just flung into Matalan. You just see him sort of walking along like that. It was some of the most,
Not only did he go to Corfu, on his way home he stopped off for 2 days to visit his parents in Mordor. How terrifying would it be for Mandelson to stay in your house? Have you seen Peter today? No, I don't know. He dematerialised and then fled into the air vents. I think if you want him to appear, you have to stamp twice and say his real name.
When Manson leaves, does a small woman come into your house and go, the house is clean?
Imagine him turning up at your holiday. Imagine seeing Mandelson on the beach. There's people on the banana boat, look like they're having a good time. Have them assassinated. Then bring me an enormous virus vibrating egg.
The reason, basically, that he's running the country, isn't it, is because Parliament's on holiday. The politicians have got an 82-day holiday. Now, that should be plenty of time, you'd have thought, to clean their own moat and work out exactly which house they, in fact, lived in.
At the end of that round, the points go to Russell and Andy. Now we play a round called Excess Gaggage. This game involves Ed, Stuart, Andy and Russell, so if you could make your way to the performance area, please. This is where we test our performers' stand-up skills. We spin our news generator, it settles on a topic, and anyone can volunteer jokes about the chosen subject. The winners are the people I judge to produce the funniest stuff. OK, here we go. Let's spin the wheel. The first topic is global warming. Who wants to come in on that? Andy Parsons.
Sheryl Crow, she's gone into the debate. She wants us to save natural resources by apparently using only one sheet of toilet paper per visit. Now, let's face it, sometimes that's just not feasible, is it? But ever since I found that out, part of me's there thinking each time I use more than one sheet, I've let Sheryl Crow down. And part of me's thinking, oh, I'd never want to go out with Sheryl Crow. She's a toilet paper Nazi. And half the time, she's probably got a dirty arse.
Thank you very much, Andy Parsons. OK, let's spin the wheel again. The subject is celebrity. Who wants to come in on that?
I'll take that.
Ed.
Yes. No, I'll take celebrity because, you know, I suppose, I'm a celebrity. You know, I've got the sort of... I'm on telly occasionally. I'm on it right now. So that's fair enough, you know. But I'm not like famous. I've got that sort of halfway house. I'm not like household name, but I'm not nobody. I'm sort of like that bloke. What's his name? You know, and people will say, oh, I saw that Ed Byrne on telly. And the other person will go, who? You go, oh, you know, the Irish guy, comedian. What, the big guy with the bald head? No, not that bloke. And it's weird when you got that sort of in-between thing, because, you know, I'll tell you what I get a lot, particularly in England, is I get people coming up to me to tell me that they don't know who I am. Seriously. Which to me seems a bizarre thing to cross the room to tell somebody, but you would be alarmed how often someone will come up to me in a pub or a club and go, apparently you're on the television? I've never heard of you. Really? My family used to own a dog called Layla. What? Sorry, I thought we were playing swap information neither of us give a shit about. No? Whereas in Ireland, I'm a bit more well-known. So in Ireland, I get abuse.
Thank you very much, Ed. OK, that leaves with Stuart and Russell. Let's spin the wheel. The next topic is the royal family.
Prince Harry's pretty spectacular, isn't he? He's wonderful. The Sun really can't make their mind up, because one minute the Sun, he's a war hero, next minute, racist. Make your mind up. We don't mind him killing foreigners, but don't call them names. That appears to be the way that he operates, you know? But there's something wonderful about Prince Harry. He must have a weekly show called These Are the Things I've Done. And we'd watch it, wouldn't we? Yeah, a couple of years ago, man, I shaved my pubes, put it on a swan, big wow. Next week, I'm going to light my farts and fondle a gibbon. Come on over! We love him because he's ferociously stupid. Think about it. He had 100 grand spent on his education, the finest education money could buy. He went to Eton, he got 2 A-levels. One's an E in geography, one's a B in art. Can you imagine that? Your dad has spent 100 grand on your education? I've done a drawing and I sort of know what a hill is. You know?
Lovely stuff. Thank you very much, Russell. OK, sure, let's see what you've been left with. Let's spin the wheel. And it's relationships.
I like my women the way I like my coffee, picked by migrant workers. No, I've got a girlfriend. I've been going out with my girlfriend for... sex. My girlfriend actually thinks I'm incapable of being faithful. My wife, on the other hand, hates that joke. And I'm not ashamed of my wife. If you don't believe me, go to the car and ask her. Ask her loud, she's in the boot. Is my wife dissatisfied with my body? A tiny part of me says yes. I was previously married. I married way too young. A Chinese girl, that's her name. I remember... Way too young was so beautiful. Fab Cook, too. That was her cousin. She was hot, too. It was a good-looking family. It's thought that most men's sexual fantasy is to be involved in a threesome. And I thought it was mine until recently. I was involved in a threesome. And I'll be honest with you, my friends, I didn't like it. Halfway through, I stopped and said, listen, Rick, Jim.
Well done, ladies and gentlemen. And the points to Ed and Stuart. Our next round is called This is the Answer. What is the question? On the board of 6 categories. Stuart, which category would you like?
Can we have home news, please?
OK, home news it is. The answer is once a minute. What's the question?
Is it how often when I walk into a playground with this beard does a mother pick up a child and throw a shoe at me?
Is it what would be the worst misprinted dosage on a pack of laxatives?
Is it how often do men self-check their own testicles?
To be honest, it's a lot more than that.
I've always wondered what you were doing.
Still there.
Is it how often does Uri Geller keep mentioning the fact that he's Michael Jackson's friend?
That's it.
Is it if you put Wayne Rooney on a perch next to a mirror, how often would he peck his own reflection?
How often does David Cameron point in a mirror and go, "Looking good, PM"?
Is it on their annual trip to Blackpool, how often does the British Claustrophobia Society have to stop the minibus?
Why would they book a minibus? Surely.
They just never learn.
Splash out, wouldn't they? 2 each at least, for God's sake.
Is it how often do Dara and Andy gaze at my hair?
How often does the average iPhone user take it out and fiddle with the poxy thing?
Very true. That's really good. I think I might tweet that. And I'm going to have to move on to
I know the correct answer. Is it how often does Kerry Katona ovulate?
I can't believe you fooled me with the I know the correct answer. The oldest trick in the book.
So I'll give the actual answer, I think, is to do with surveillance, isn't it?
It is to do with
it's
surveillance,
how many
yes.
times is there a request put in for surveillance by a authority or something?
That's absolutely, that's close enough for you. I'll give you the exact thing. The actual question specifically I was looking for was, on average, how often do public bodies request access to private phone and email records? This week, a report by the Interception of Communications Commissioner, an actual job, showed that authorities, including councils and police, made over 500,000 requests to access private phone and email records in 2008. That's 1,400 requests a day, an increase of 44% in 2 years ago, although actually not an increase on last year. So who's doing the snooping?
Is there a dude called the Interception of...
The Interception of Communications Commissioner.
Imagine his wife trying to have an affair.
It's impossible.
I bet you she's having an affair with a guy she has to signal to with the lamp. He's out on a rowboat somewhere.
He'll come home and go, darling, I'm the Interception of Communications Commissioner. And she'd go, move to the secure line.
Do you know what it's come to, right? 1 in 78 people are being surveyed in some way by the government. That means that maybe 4 of tonight's audience are being surveyed by the government, or to be more realistic, 3 of tonight's audience and me. If the government are watching me, I would like to say this. Could you please tell me where I was on Saturday night? I'd really love those trousers back.
The issue is that that CCTV footage and covert police
work
filming
as well, yeah.
is being used to for relatively minor offences, to bust people for dog fouling and fly tipping, when it's really, it's supposed to be used to make late-night clip shows on ITV4.
The irony of it, though, is that the person who's really complained about it is Chris Huhne, of the Liberal Democrats. He must be so pissed off because there are thousands of cameras anywhere and still no one knows who he is.
To be honest,
Hoon said the government forgets that George Orwell's 1984 was a warning and not a blueprint.
To be honest,
but you wouldn't even get away with that sentence in your GCSE, let alone as a grown-up.
I feel so sorry.
Animal Farm was an allegory, not an actual description of a farm.
Money, aren't they? They're offering money for you to report on somebody who's left their rubbish out in the wrong day or something. I think that's a good thing. If they're offering £100 to report on fly tipping, imagine what they're going to pay me to tell them that my next-door neighbour's buried his wife in the garden. Probably more than he paid me to kill her. I'm going to spy on my neighbours and use the money to upgrade my night vision goggles.
It's 100. Genuinely, it's Waltham Forest Council. Now, admittedly, if you hear Waltham Forest Council, you think of a magical council of elves and owls who gather in the middle of Waltham Forest and go, the squirrels are upset. What shall we do to help them? But no, it's a real place. Waltham Forest Council said it's £100 for the initial information if it leads to an arrest, £150 for a conviction, and £500 if they serve they've staggered it. So basically, you can go to court and go, woo, as people get done for littering, cha-ching at the back of the court.
You, aren't they? It's really easy to tell when someone's come into a sum like £100.
Yeah.
Is that a swatch you're wearing there? See, it's a Big Mac and fries you've gone for.
It was a great story that they were going to pay kids to spy on antisocial neighbours, which is fantastic, isn't it? An 8-year-old. This is DCI Luke. I've just seen a man draw a cock on a bus stop. I am proceeding on Heelys.
Russell, did DC Luke get a good look at this guy who drew the cock?
Do you know that we have 20% of the world's CCTV cameras in Britain? You know that? No. Now, pretty much the only place you can be sure that nobody's watching you is on Justin Lee Collins' chat show. It doesn't help. It doesn't help anything. Nobody's going to help you if they see you on CCTV. If a gang of teenagers attack you, all it means, CCTV, is that your murder will eventually be narrated by Danny Dyer on Bravo.
There was a great story the other day. Did you see this about... apparently they're putting security cameras in wheelie bins to see what people are putting in their bins. And people are outraged, but... don't get outraged, just get even, because that implies somebody's watching that. So, like, hire a clown just to sit in there, just with a little note that goes, I bet you hate your job, just all day until his mind is broken.
You can buy a puppet of Oscar the Grouch.
Well, I'll do
and
that.
just do that.
How do you know that?
To be honest, I reckon you could get Les Dennis to do that.
If you watch it,
I was going to say,
say
the Oscar plan's better because he's known for living in bins, but actually, Les Dennis.
It's really funny, though, because when you do other kind of interviews, I did Gabby Logan the other day, the show, come on, and she said, yeah, your mate Frankie said that I look like a transvestite. And then you find yourself going, yeah, I'm not his brother. But what was really great, well, the poor woman, she was flicking through late one night just to see what was on telly. She flicked on the exact moment, apparently, you went, yeah, she looks like a transvestite. Just at that exact moment.
She snapped the remote control at a breadstick in her giant man hands. Cussing!
The end of that round. The points go to Frankie Hughes Stewart. Now we come to our final quickfire round called Scenes We'd Like to See. This is for everyone, so if you can make your way to the performance area, please. I caught ideas for scenarios. We'd love to see the performers come in with their suggestions. OK, here we go. The first subject is bad things to hear at the psychiatrist's.
I don't want you to think of me as a psychiatrist. I want you to think of me as a mental patient who killed the psychiatrist before you got here.
You think you are a potato? On the couch, please.
Welcome to your first session of Freudian analysis. What seems to be the penis?
Well, you say that you're paranoid, but I have a report here that says you looked very relaxed in the bath this morning.
Oh, yes. I can see why you fancy your mother. She's something of a fox.
I see you've tried to commit suicide 5 times. Your dad was right. You are
You've been coming here for 6 months to talk about your trust issues. Well, we've been filming you for Britain's nuttiest bastards.
Yes, I think your parents caused you problems from a very early age, Clitorina.
Your thoughts that you're horrifically unattractive are all in your mind, Mr. Johnson.
OK, word association. I'm going to say a word, and I want you to say the first thing that pops into your breasts.
Wow, that's really interesting. Do you mind if I use some of this stuff as lyrics for my band?
You have emotional problems and a below-average IQ. I'm prescribing Hollyoaks.
Oh, that's a classic dream. It means you're a paedophile.
I want you to go to your happy place. Judging by the size of you, that's probably Greg's.
Hypnosis could certainly help with your intimacy issues. While you were unconscious, I rested my nuts on your head.
The next topic is unlikely things to hear on a TV talent show.
2007's winner, Leon Jackson, is still selling records in his Saturday job at HMV Paisley.
Of course it's not a freak show. Now get your Siamese twin asses on that stage and you nail Papa Don't Preach.
Two crosses light up and the crowd cheers as Stavros Flatley are crucified in flames.
Hello, I'm Rita. I'm 87, and I'm going to do Keep You Up with me boobs. Here we go. Hey! I'm like bloody Ronaldo! Look at me go!
OK, you're right. I don't really have any talent, but I'm kind of cute, and I'm Kylie Minogue's sister, for God's sake.
What a hilarious singing dog Susan Boyle is.
When you said you were going to saw a woman in half, I thought you were a magician.
Oh, my family aren't going to believe it when they see me on TV. They think I'm dead.
Hello, I'm Susan Boyle, and I would like to say hello to my brother Frankie.
Susan Boyle is not related to me. None of my relatives will ever manage to chisel their way out of that cellar.
I am an escapologist. Today I have escaped from Broadmoor.
Next on ITV4, it's ITV3's coverage of ITV2's making-of documentary about the coverage on ITV4.
Hello, I'm Billy Cock, and this is my partner, Brian Balls, and together we are Billy and Brian.
Behold, my magical racist cat. They come over here, they steal our bloody jobs. I'm not having it.
That was a beautiful song, until you fucking sang it.
At the end of that round, the points go to Russell, Ed and Andy. That's the end of the show. This week's winners are Andy Parsons, Ed Byrne and Russell Howard. Commiserations to Frankie Boyle, Hugh Dennis and Stuart Francis. Thanks for watching. I'm Dara Breen. Good night.
Feel free to laugh and point, but no egg throwing just yet, as Clive Anderson reveals the funny side of politics next here on BBC Two.
Hello and welcome to this special holiday edition of Mock the Week. We're halfway through the series, so we thought we'd show you some bits you won't have seen before, plus some of our favourite moments so far. We're back with a regular show next week. Hope you enjoy it. Hello and welcome to Mock the Week. I'm Dara Breen. Joining me this week are Andy Parsons, Rod Gilbert and Russell Howard, Frankie Boyle, Hugh Dennis. We have done that hundreds of times. We never clapped there.
I'm not the real Frankie Boyle.
That's the happiest you've ever looked at that section.
I can't believe you did it. He started a spontaneous round of applause. That was professional courtesy. Well done, the other team. No, we genuinely have to do all that again.
It looked like you'd had some sort of ganja flashback. You're like, oh, happy days.
Where was Gordon Brown for the weekend?
Oh, he was in Italy for the G8.
He was indeed.
Which is not to be confused with the G20, which is the group of 19 industrial nations and the EU, or the G45, which is a group of hypoallergenic countries.
It was fantastic to see Gordon Brown looking incredibly uncomfortable as he met Berlusconi. Berlusconi's sort of like an old-style fixer. Hey, you want pussy, Brown? You want some blow? You want blow? No, I'm just here to talk about trade. You want a boy? I get you a boy, Brown. I get you a girl. I get you a boy girl. 4 arms, 4 legs. It's like making love to a man spider. You want me to get rid of Cameron? I get rid of Cameron, Brown. I make it look like suicide, like he fell in love with the man spider. I'm turning Spanish. That's how much I love you, Gordon.
He's just moved to Morocco, is he?
You're so right, though. He does. Berlusconi probably looks like one of those blokes you meet on a holiday. Just went, your wife.
No questions would be asked.
Yeah, but
just one night. Just one night. That's all they ask.
Just stuffing money into your hand. You, me, pedalo, her.
No, it wouldn't go, let me sleep with your wife. No, go away. And then you'd hear him walk away, and at the next table, let me sleep with your wife. No, go away. And that's went on further.
He's amazing. I mean, to be honest, Berlusconi really puts Brown into perspective. Because did you see when they had those horrific Italian earthquakes, Berlusconi said to the survivors, and I quote, "Hey, don't worry about it. Pretend you're on holiday."
The most shocking thing about that is finding out what a good impression I do of Silvio Berlusconi. Berlusconi is, like, terrifying. He looks like the sort of guy who, if you told him to go himself, he'd give it a try.
To offer a brief amount of fact to back this up, because you know where the G8 summit was held?
L'Aquila. Laka squawkalaka. I could never pronounce that word.
That's okay. It is a night of bad Italian impersonation, so we'll let you in. But he went. It's called L'Aquila. It's where the earthquake was, and he took them there. It's very symbolic and all that. But nonetheless, even that place, he visited at the time of the earthquake, and went up to one of the doctors, put his arm around it when she was dealing with the situation, and said, "I wouldn't mind being resuscitated by you." Right? During the actual visit, they thought there was an aftershock during the vigil, but it was just his headboard banging furiously up.
Can I just say in this photo, if you look at Nicolas Sarkozy there...
Yeah.
I'm just taking a break, man. I'm just taking a break to do this show. Brown just looks like his polygrip's come undone.
He swallowed his bottom lip.
It looks like the world's first conjoined quintuplets on their epic Everest climb. That's what
Brown looks like he's got Hannibal Lecter's leather mask on. You couldn't Photoshop his face to look any weirder than that. That's how he actually looks.
Look at Angela Merkel's face. You look at then Gordon Brown's face, almost looks like he's been goosing her, and that's why she's pulling the face that she's pulling.
Wait a minute. What's goosing?
Goosing? You know what goosing is?
Well, it's basically when you play with their tatty bojangles.
To be fair. Nice intra-series reference there. No, goosing is more... it's like a goose would peck you, so it's basically honk.
All right. Have you ever had a goose fill them up, then? Is this a regular thing? Oh, hello, of course you have. Well... Trying to smell boys' rooms and a goose came from behind me.
I was bitten in the testicles by a goose.
Well, hang on. Well,
so I'm not the only one?
Let's put the G8 to one side. Explain that then. What happened?
I was by a pond. My children were playing by the pond. They upset a goose. They ran away. I didn't notice. The goose bit me in the testicle. Really hard.
What do you do
Kids
afterwards?
love you, don't they?
It was very funny.
Did you get him back?
What, the goose?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to bite it in the testicle. How do you get a goose back? Cook it? What do you do?
I think he had his comeuppance, to be honest.
I think in the long run, you probably win.
In the long run, what we're being human.
I'd have turned that into...
By outliving the
All
goose.
that kind of stuff.
When the goose is about to die, you turn up and go, hello, Mr. Goose, we meet again. Who is the winner now? The goose's head.
To be honest,
Bollocks,
I'd have turned him into a doorstop if he bit my nads. I'd stretch him and put him across the floor like that.
You just make everybody cry if you
Nobody
did
bites
that.
my balls, Dora. Nobody bites my balls.
You and the Walkley's gang
It's
would have
almost like
sorted them.
people weren't that interested in the G8. 5 minutes into the discussion, Hugh's talking about a goose and you're shouting, nobody bites my balls.
Why has Lord Mandelson been in the news this week?
He's building a Death Star.
There he is. Dun, 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 dun.
It's been suggested that he should take over as Labour leader because there's not enough evil. Not enough evil. We need a vampire at the helm, just projecting pure evil from his eyes in bolts. He always comes back. He comes back stronger. He's like Thrush or something. Now he's a lord. Who made him a lord? The Sith?
Good photograph for someone who looks slightly scary at the best of times. Feel free at home to draw a tiny moustache under his nose just to get the full effect of that photograph.
He's so reptilian. When that woman threw green slime in his face, I thought...
He's not actually going to prosecute the woman who threw green crust at him. And do you know the reason that he's not going to prosecute her?
Loves custard?
No. The reason is that apparently, right, Ruth Kelly, she got egged. She decided to prosecute the person who egged her, went along to court, and on her way to court to prosecute, she got egged again.
Which long of the two TV presenters announced plans to stand at the next election?
Esther Rantzen.
It is, of course,
Esther Rantzen, who, like young people, this would be quite surprising to because she looks quite frightening. And now we've got the days of Christine Bleakley's and people like that. And it's only good-looking people, ourselves accepted, who are allowed on television. Young people looking at Esther Rantzen, if you told them that she used to be a big star on television, they would imagine that she was one of Doctor Who's enemies.
Do you think...
She looks like Pete Doherty's trying to swallow a piano there.
Does anyone know, by the way, do you know why she's wearing a hat? Why she's wearing that particular hat?
Because she's been horribly burnt.
No, not because she's been horribly burnt.
Because she's in a butcher's
She's
shop.
got Hitler's brain stitched in there.
No, not because
She's a
really is.
Henley.
The real answer is much more prosaic.
She's got the head of Voldemort on the back.
It's none of those reasons. It's because Luton used to have a hat manufacturing industry.
Oh, that's why the football team's called the Hatters.
The Hatters, yeah. And so she's worn that, which seems really rude to go, remember these? You used to make these. You're unemployed now. This is made in China. Vote for me.
She said that top of her policies are she wants to look after vulnerable children and the mentally ill. And you're thinking that's hardly a vote winner, is it? Given that that's two sections of community who can't actually vote.
People remember That's Life. Because That's Life was sort of... It was a consumer show, but it was sort of like The One Show or something. And they used to have a brilliant thing where they do what The One Show does now. They jump between a really serious item and a light-hearted item. But, you know, it just jumps now. She used to always segue, and she'd segue by changing camera. Right? So she'd have a thing where she'd be going there, what a lovely little family of hedgehogs that is. I'll tell you one thing that you don't get in the hedgehog community, and that's date rape.
You can do that. There was this bizarre, inexplicable show where they'd feature about families who lived in houses that were 90% damp, and the council would go, whoa, it rains a lot, and then there would a dog would say sausages.
What? That can't happen.
There was a dog, for weeks this ran, they'd have a dog in the
For
go,
weeks?
and the entire nation... Again, just make a point. In Ireland, we used to watch this and go, what's wrong with the English? The entire country go, you know, that's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. As if it was an evolutionary leap. If they said sausages, soon we would have full conversations with the dog. Okay, I've made the sausage. What next? Oh, perhaps an egg.
somebody must have
It
seen
didn't
that.
say sausages by itself. There was a guy holding its jaws painfully. They were going...
And then the same dog, then there was a puppet on Spitting Image, which also went sausages, in homage to the dog on That's Life that went sausages. And I was the voice of the dog that went sausages.
You were the voice.
Our next round is called Newsreel, replaying a recent piece of footage featuring people in the news and ask Hugh to suggest what might be being said. This week's clip features Gordon Brown.
Hi, lovely to see you, Angelo. Welcome to London from Germany. Now, they will be asking you about the economy, so if you could say how very well I'm doing, that basically I have saved the world and you're just following my lead, that's right. If you could just stand over here, that's...
Well, I don't think I will be able to say that, Gordon, because as far as I'm concerned, you Anglo-Saxons have cocked it all up for the rest of us.
Oh, so funny, so charming. Now, I have written a few words down that you may wish to say. No idea who this is. So, welcome to London. You take your coat off there. Now, obviously, you will be asked about the economy. So, if you could just say how well I'm doing, that I have basically saved the world, that you're just following my lead. That's pretty much the drill. So, if you'd like to come through, ladies and gentlemen, this is... anyway, you better introduce yourself. So, just stand there. That's... smile. That's lovely. You're not the one who's trying to develop the nuclear missile, are you? Oh, my God. Holy Mother of God, no idea who this is either. So I think I'll probably just throw a name at this one. Welcome to London, Brian and Steve. I'm a great admirer of your country. Now, you will be asked about the economy, so if you could just say how well I'm doing, how you've followed my lead.
No, we are not world leaders. We are the hitmen. You are hired to take out Piers Morgan.
At last, someone I recognise. How are you, Nicolas? How's it going?
Well, I'm having a little trouble with the economy, but not as much trouble as my wife is having walking, you know. I don't know if you have seen the latest nudie pictures on the internet, but let me tell you, my wife has got a terrific pair of... Oh, I stand there, that's it. That is beautiful, so I smile, that's it. Wonderful.
Now, I do need to talk to you about the economy.
Where can I buy Viagra? That's...
Now, who is this? Silvio, you old rogue, still using the hair dye. Got William Hague to open the car door for you there, so I will be talking to you about the economy, and...
No, wait a minute. I'll show you what I've planned for tonight. This one is mine, okay? And this one is yours. She is 36 double D. She used to be a man, but you would never know. She has lots of uniforms as recommended by Max Mosley. No, how about this one? New in town. No, I don't think so. Well, in that case, I need a phone box.
Well done, Hugh. What tiny fire risk has been found in Gloucestershire?
It's ants.
It is ants, yes.
It's ants. It's Hungarian ants that are attracted to electricity. In fact, electricity is more important to them than food or water. In that way, they are very like Stephen Hawking.
They're like geek ants, aren't they?
They are like nerd
geek
ants, yes.
They come in colonies of like 35,000 geek ants, and not one of them has got a girlfriend.
Why they're attracted to electricity.
They have to follow electricity. They go, there's a junction box. And off they go, and they go into the junction box and presumably kill themselves.
Do you think before junction boxes were around, during lightning storms, they used to just hold paper clips just walking along? And, there's no electricity, go to the nylon carpet. Oh, yeah.
These are Hungarians.
That's what Daddy knows.
I want someone to get bitten by one of these and get superpowers, and you just walk down the road seeing a guy with an enormous leaf.
Sugar. There's sugar in the distance. Where's that sugar? I must find it. Yes, it was. They're ants, and they're attracted to an electricity substation in the National Trust Hidcote Manor in Gloucestershire. That's how specific this is. This is one collection of ants near one plug, basically. But it was reported in The Sun with this headline: Electric super ants invade UK.
That's like the title of a Kraftwerk album or something. Electric super ants in video care.
Where are the ants? They're electric. The ants are electric.
Here's a man with the lips. He is going to make love to your British queen.
Then it would be in German. Wo ist der ants? Der ants sind electrician, ants.
The British queen has 2,000 babies a day.
Why were royal finances in the news this week?
Because the Queen blew all her money on a horse called Thug Hunter.
The Queen is at the centre of an expenses scandal, isn't she? Because she's been claiming Balmoral as her main residence and claiming the council tax back on Buckingham Palace.
She's still got... apparently she lost 6 million last year, had to spend 6 million, but she's still got 240 million in the bank. She's not going to turn up for the Christian speech next year wearing a shell suit going, it's been a tough year. Philip got a job writing for the BNP.
You think
Although, in fairness, they've taken her eyes, which is a bit...
You know, she does look like a cartoon character who's seen a sexy cartoon character and...
I think the Queen could print more money anyway. All she really needs is a profile shot and a photocopier. And,
They say the Queen spent £14,000 on a train journey from London to Liverpool. And that's what happens if you let an old-age pensioner use the self-service ticket machine.
But it's not, in fairness, it's not the Queen. It's the other, like Princess Beatrice. She's at university at Goldsmiths, and we're having to spend 300 grand on doing up her student digs. It's ridiculous. What kind of note is she going to leave on her fridge? Somebody had the quail's eggs.
She would normally have 300 grand getting her flat done up so she can go and study the history of ideas. I've got an idea for you, Beatrice. Get your fat arse down to B&Q.
Well, the fact is, they're always getting on about whether the royal family is actually value for money. But at the end of the day, we do get a lot of tourists coming in. If you just go to Buckingham Palace on any day, you see the number of tourists gawking at it. I mean, I don't think you can still get the same numbers if they turfed out the royal family and turned it into a giant Lidl.
Do we need a royal family to attract American tourists? Have you seen those people? You could attract them with a balloon on a stick.
I don't know about turning it into a big Lidl, but I think people would come from far and wide if the Queen was forced to work at Lidl.
Oh, you can imagine going up to the Queen and go, yeah, what, 4 packets of already broken biscuits, yeah? Do people still actually buy already broken biscuits?
Dara's hardly going to know the answer, is he?
Let's be honest, the new slim Dara doesn't know anything about biscuits. Look at him.
I couldn't even recognise the word biscuit.
He looks like a Russian bodyguard.
No actual...
Oh, you look good. I think we should have started the show with you just in front of the camera, just doing a gun show like that. You like that, nation? They call me Vladimir. He looks like a Russian bodyguard, doesn't he?
I don't know if you realise the story behind this, but Dara's lost weight because he's been on the Irish version of I'm a Celebrity, which is set during the potato famine.
Sorry.
How much weight?
We were all a bit worried when we heard about your weight loss. We were all a bit worried that you had AIDS.
Yeah, that was true.
No, we were genuinely worried because none of us wore a condom.
In fact, actually, we'll chat about that later.
How much weight have you lost, actually?
Who, me? Since I've been on here about 2
Come on, tell us.
I'm not Colleen Nolan. This isn't Loose Women. I'm not discussing weight loss on the show. You know?
I was banned from Loose Women. They wouldn't have me on.
Wow. Did you do Loose Women?
Really? I wanted to, and they wouldn't. Guess who they got? Dara O'Brien.
Don't make me like the one you get because you don't trust Frankie. Well, we get the safe face. Oh.
You being on Loose Women is as likely as Loose Women being sold to Iran.
I'd love to see them sold to Iran.
So what is it, 2 stone?
What am I, at a village fete or something?
I think we should get the scales every week.
Let's move on, because Dara's got a thigh master under his desk and he needs...
I like the story.
I presume I'm lighter than you, I'm presuming.
You are still lighter than me.
I mean, you've lost weight, but I wouldn't phone you if I had a spare seat on the Cecil. You know, me and you would have a horrible afternoon on one, wouldn't we?
I know, the view from your seat would probably be quite good.
Yeah,
I'd just be
that's
looking
true.
It's OK, because Dara would be able to do it in physics, and he'd be able to put himself at such a place on the swing that you could balance it out by moving up and down.
It's basic law of the lever. You just change the position of the weight along in between there and the...
How boring is the subject of the Queen's expenses that we're talking about the basic laws of levers?
Yes, the answer I was looking for was record-breaking Wimbledon final. This is the epic Wimbledon men's singles final between Roger Federer and Andrew.
Can I say?
What do you want to say as I'm doing that bit that I have to do?
No, I think I would have got that if they had put in the hyphen. But they didn't put in the hyphen,
so it should be
and I didn't get it.
All right, Captain Grammar, pipe down.
Would you like us to sit down one more time?
Shut up! Shut up! Every one of you, shut up for a second!
There we go. The answer I was looking for was record-breaking Wimbledon final. This is the epic Wimbledon men's singles final between Roger Federer and Andrew Roddick. Andy Tony's mother calls him Andrew. I'm not allowed to call him Andrew. OK, sorry, apologies. We'll come off the applause again. Apologies for this. Yes, the answer I was looking for was a record-breaking Wimbledon final. This is the epic Wimbledon men's singles final between Roger Federer and... And by the way, if this ever turns up on those cute BBC clip shows, Anne Robinson's a... Sorry, and now I have to do that as well.
Have we got to do scenes about that?
Yeah, the entire topic is a burp.
I'm going to walk like a dinosaur now.
In fact, Q. Q, hang a minute. Let's see what happens if I can lasso a dinosaur. I'll see if I can do that. Here we are. Swing.
You can't.
I had my head frighteningly close to your penis there.
That was like a... To be honest, that was like a Jurassic Brokeback Mountain.
You better go...
I wish I knew how to quit you.
OK, Stuart, let's see what you're left with. To relate... I know what it was. That was me pausing acting. It wasn't me... wasn't me pausing forgetting. Oh, God. Now I have to find it again.
You're the host of the show.
I'm hosting a host show. I deserve to be here. I deserve to be here. I deserve to be here. OK, let's see what topic you've got, Stuart. What the again? You've made me forget. It's a relationship, of course. Okay.
I don't deserve to be here.
Pretty sure you're looking for the one-armed man.
To be honest, should we not wait for Adam to put his foot back?
Yeah. Probably should have done that one last, really.
Problem.
I kind of backed myself into a corner. Quick impression, Heather Mills in the morning.
I could not stop looking at that then. Was that really weird? I don't know why, I was just like, the leg, look at the leg. I don't know what I was thinking, just the leg. I wanted to touch the leg.
It was a nice joke to do, but I think most of you kind of went, ah!
The thing is, we all know Adam's only got one leg, everyone else does. He's hurting himself!
OK.
I think you're looking for the bloke with one leg.
Right, here we go. The first subject is things you wouldn't hear from a weather forecaster.
The Met Office have issued a weather warning. They've told the weather not to do that again, or there'll be trouble.
Temperatures could rise to 31 degrees. Shit, I've left my baby in the car!
A hurricane tonight will be caused by low pressure and God's hatred of homosexuality.
A huge depression over Scotland, and now the weather.
And finally, a warning to hay fever sufferers. Don't come sneezing near me or I'll rip your face off.
So, here's the summary. Monday shite, Tuesday shite, Wednesday shite, Thursday bollocks.
The humidity's rising. The barometer's going low. Tonight, for the first time, just about 10:30, it's going to start raining men.
The outlook's bright for the weekend. I've got 3 grams of coke in my pocket and my wife's on holiday.
Well, let's go to Carol on the roof of Television Centre. She's not meant to be there. She's just a bit depressed.
This part of the country is going to stay hot and wet for quite some time because that's where my girlfriend lives. Oh, yeah.
So, it's going to be between 17 and 21, but Berlusconi won't date older than that.
It was raining cats and dogs last night.
I should know. I was throwing them off my roof.
It's going to be -12 this weekend, so if you're in Newcastle, you might need a bigger T-shirt.
It's going to be cloudier tonight. I love those German birds.
What do you care what the weather's going to be like? You look shit in all your clothes.
The next topic is deleted lines from a fantasy film.
I am Aragorn, son of Arathorn, the heir to Isildur and part of the Fellowship of the Ring. Please leave a message after the tone.
Ron had been suffering from swine flu and people were avoiding him. Luckily, he was ginger and he was used to it.
I don't know why you're so upset, Harry. The original Dumbledore died 3 films ago and no one gave a shit.
Did you find Narnia in the wardrobe? No, Edmund. We found your porn stash.
My friends, we will never hear the word Mordor again. Taggart has been cancelled.
No, Harry, it's not a 5-headed dog. It's girls allowed. Me.
I am Aslan, formed by the merger of Asda and Matalan.
We had only been there for a day, but to us it felt like 15 years. That's Birmingham.
Did you honestly think I could be defeated by someone younger? I am Arlene Phillips!
Welcome to Mordor, twinned with Swansea.
This will never work, Frodo.
In the wardrobe, we found a magical compartment that led to the Fritzl family.
He stole it from me, my precious! Oh, no, it's in my pocket.
You all right, John? How's it going, all right? Yeah. How's the kids? All right? See you later.
I'm not a dwarf, I'm a lesbian.
And Mark the Week returns next Thursday at 9 on BBC Two.
welcome to Mock the Week. I'm Dara Green. Joining me this week are Andy Parsons, Fred McCauley and Russell Howard, Frankie Ball, Hugh Dennis and Sean Walsh. We start with a round called If This Is the Answer, What Is the Question? On the board are 6 categories. Fred, which category would you like?
World news, please, Dara.
OK, your category is world news. The answer is 1/5. What's the question?
Is this what fraction of the Jackson 5 might miss the Christmas party?
Is it how much of the weekend can Andrew Flintoff remember?
Is it how much of French and Saunders is Saunders?
Is it what proportion of Enid Blyton's The Famous Five can lick their own testicles?
Is it England's only dwarf king was called Henry the what?
How much of a Boris Johnson speech is not, well, I
say, Is it how does Jamie Oliver pronounce one fish?
Compared to how much you paid, how much is your house worth now?
Is it whether you like it or not, how much happier are you when you've seen a fat person fall over? Never felt through fun.
It's about Libya, I think, and it is what proportion of Scotland's tourist income is provided by American tourists?
Very good. Well done, Hugh. Give me a round of applause. This is the news that campaigners have called on Americans to boycott travel to Scotland as well as the buying of Scottish goods in the wake of a decision to release Lockerbie bomber Ali al-Megrahi. The decision was roundly condemned by Barack Obama and FBI Director Robert Mueller. Scotland is now a rogue state, uncontrolled by Westminster. They've just gone crazy. Fred?
Yes. Well, I have to say, it's a double-edged sword because on the one hand, we've got a huge international incident. On the other hand, we've annoyed the Americans.
They're not going to come on holiday to Scotland. Who had a holiday booked to go to Scotland in September? I wouldn't go to Scotland in September if I was going into hiding. The only person making that trip should be an academic doing a report on the exact moment when depression turns into violence. Americans don't even have passports. All 10% of them have passports. Americans boycotting Scotland is like Wayne Rooney boycotting the Large Hadron Collider.
It's not just, it's the Scottish goods, though. It is a genuine fear that if America... that your sales of whiskey, shortbread and those hats that have hair attached to the hat.
How many haggises are we selling in Jackson, Mississippi? 2, 5?
I will say this, as an Irish person, on the website that says boycott Scotland, they offer as an alternative Ireland, which is kind of... We're not interchangeable, although we have renamed our whiskey Freedom Whiskey.
Like Ireland doesn't have any links to terrorism.
No, exactly.
Not to that terrorism, no.
I'm actually staying in Scotland this month, and I know for a fact that they don't care, because I got a taxi to my flat, and the driver came out to help me with my bags, and some Americans pulled over and said, "Excuse me, you couldn't give us any advice on how to get to the station, could you?" And he said, "Hey, get sat nav!"
What I liked about it was the fact that Kenny McCaskill said that the reason why they let him go is because Scotland is a compassionate nation. And you're like, what? The Glasgow kiss is the only kiss that involves the forehead. It's freezing there, they make him wear skirts, and the last terrorist in Scotland was on fire, and Jim Smeaton still tried to beat him up.
They don't make us wear skirts, we choose to do that,
It's not Jim Smeaton. They're not all called Jimmy, he's John.
They've released El Megrahi. The Scotland have sent him back on compassionate grounds because he's only got 3 months to live. Well, Gordon Brown has only got a year to live politically, so could we not send him back to Scotland?
There was a genuine... Because Al Megrahi, yes, has 3 months to live, but he's 57, so he was very close to becoming Scotland's oldest man.
The great thing about Al McGrahy as he actually sounds Scottish. Big Al McGrahy. He sounds like he played centre-half for Dunfermline or something. Yeah, you get round the full-back, but often Big Al McGrahy was there to clear. The main problem with it, isn't it, as I see, is the British government has done some sort of deal, we reckon. But they clearly said to Libya, look, you can have him back, but don't have a party. Libya's just gone absolutely tonto and frowns on the phone to Gaddafi. What are you talking about, Brown? I cancelled the Skywriter. I can't cook up. I can't hear you over the noise of the fireworks.
There was even a party in which there were children waving Scottish flags. If you used to be released from a Scottish prison, would you want to see Scottish flags when you arrive? Would you not just go, it's a trick, it's a trick?
You punked. I'll tell you what would be funny, actually, if it's just a few Scottish football fans and they've forgotten how to get back from Norway. Where are we? All right, lads, he don't look well.
Really thought we would have beaten Libya. It's not like Al McGrahy got off lightly, though. That's what I don't get. You know, he had to spend 9 years in a Scottish prison. If you want to know what a Scottish prison is like, imagine what life is like normally in Scotland. A Scottish prison is exactly the same.
What other transatlantic row has been raging over recent weeks?
It's the NHS.
Yes, now what way is the NHS a transatlantic route? Explain.
Well, Barack Obama is trying to give 46 million people free health insurance, and the Republicans are really angry about this because they think it's evil. That was the exact word. Sarah Palin said, it's evil. Sarah Palin said to his plan of free health insurance for 46 million people, I don't want to see my Down syndrome baby go in front of Obama's death panel. And she can't understand basic English. He didn't say that. I'm not going to do that. You want to kill my baby? No. I'm trying to create an American NHS. You want to call this country Obama land? No, I don't. Here's a ball. Go and bounce it, you moron. You know, it's unbelievable, man.
The horrible thing about the Americans and the NHS is that we have a better life expectancy than Americans. In fact, the only time that British people don't have a greater life expectancy than Americans is when we're on joint military manoeuvres.
My favourite story was apparently an American newspaper wrote that had Stephen Hawking been British, he basically wouldn't be around anymore because, of course, he'd have had to suffer at the hands of the NHS. And you're thinking, what a brilliant, most powerful argument that is, apart from the fact that Stephen Hawking is British and says he owes his life to the NHS.
Yeah, but for many years, Hawking has been using that fake American voice for a while now. It's basically, it's come back to haunt him now. And so he in very ways only has himself to blame.
I would say in defence of the Americans that Hawking only went into an NHS hospital with a splinter.
Surely he should have. We've got the
different
settings for different areas.
Like he can't change it now.
Yeah, but it must be a thing where he said up north. Ow, do!
He could have a lady's voice at points, couldn't he?
It's not a sat-nav system that Stephen Hawking had.
He could have Mr. T. Wouldn't that be great?
You know, he's guest voices.
I got a new theory, Sugan.
you know, he's sitting at home right now thinking, what would I have had to have done with my life to stop people taking their piss? I worked out what black holes were, and people are sitting there, what if he was a lady?
At the end of that round, the points go to Frankie, Hugh and Sean. Now we play a round called Lady Gag Gag. This game involves Fred, Sean, Andy and Russell, so if you could make your way to the performance area, please. This is where we test our performance stand-up skills. We spin our news generator, it settles on a topic, and anyone can volunteer jokes about the chosen subject. The winners are the people I judge to have produced the funniest stuff. OK, here we go. Let's spin the wheel. First subject is politicians. Who wants to come in on that? Andy Parsons.
Now, Gordon Brown is just not very impressive, is he? He does that thing when he's talking where it's sort of, you know, it's with his jaw. You know, at the end of each sentence, like his jaw falls down. It makes him look like he doesn't actually believe anything he's saying. I'm going to win the next election. David Cameron has said he's not smug about winning the next election. Trouble is, David Cameron, he looks pretty smug most of the time, doesn't he? The only time he didn't look smug was, in fact, when he had his bike nicked, and then everybody else around him, they looked smug.
Well done, Andy. OK, let's spin the wheel again. The subject is healthy lifestyles. Who wants to come in on that? Sean.
Yes, I'm very unhealthy, obviously. Look at the state of me. I look like a Thundercat on heroin. This is absolutely true. A couple of weeks ago, a homeless gentleman approaches me from behind, goes, "Excuse you, mate." I turn round, goes, "Oh, nothing." I smoke over 40 a day, right? I now run out of breath when I grate cheese. I got a friend, Dave, he got a Nintendo Wii, right? He asked me if I wanted to go around and play. Now, if I'm going to play a computer game, I don't want to get a Stitch. Hey, look, it's like the real thing, look. It's like the real thing, yeah? You smashed your vase, you twat. He takes it far too seriously as well. There's a bowling game. Yeah? He made me change my shoes.
Great job, well done. OK, that leaves us with Fred and Russell. Let's spin the wheel. Next subject is rage.
No wonder that man's boss. He's stuck in a shuttlecock. Everyone's angry, though. I know the kids did really well in their A-levels. How do we respond? A-levels are getting easier. In my day, you had to do 50 questions in a minute. You got one wrong, they killed your dad. You know? All you hear is, this country's gone to the dogs. I'm fed up with this country. It's the worst country in the world. It's enough to drive you mad. Yeah, I bet there's some bloke in some war-torn African village as we speak, just weeping. Why are you crying, mate? Is it because you've got no food, no money, no home? It is none of those things. Some people in England only have their willy bins collected once a fortnight. Is there no God?
OK, Fred, let's see what you've been left with. Let's spin the wheel. Next subject is travel. Away you go.
This week, Ryanair, the Irish airline, decided that they were going to carry out their policy and do away completely with check-in desks. Now, I've got many ambitions in life. My main one, though, is to be the barman in the bar where Michael O'Leary from Ryanair goes for a pint on a Friday night, so I can stand there and go, "Hello, Michael. How's the crack? What are you after? A pint of lager? Certainly. 49 pence. Yes, I know that appears cheap. The glass is going to cost you £2. Will you be wanting a head on it, Michael? What made you think it'd be $3.49? Did you not book your pint online? Thank you. I actually preferred it at the halfway stage with the self-check-in desk, which is bizarre. I remember the first time that happened to me, standing there in front of an empty check-in desk at the airport, asking myself if I've packed this bag myself. I'm a comedian, I went, might have done. I'm not having that kind of behaviour. I called security. I demanded a strip search, ladies and gentlemen, and it was a cracking start to the weekend, I'll tell you. The good news is my prostate's in good shape, and we found a bottle of Bacardi from a previous trip. Good. Fred.
OK, at the end of that round, the points go to Fred and Sean. Our next round is called Headliners. Here's a picture of England's cricketers at the Oval. But what does EWAF stand for?
Is it England win at football?
Is it everybody wasted a fortnight?
I think it's a description of the English cricket team. English, Welsh, African and Flintoff.
Is it? Hey, what a fluke!
I've been thinking about this long and hard. And it's a waff.
It's not. Can we move towards the correct answer?
I think it's probably embarrassing war in Afghanistan forgotten.
What I had for breakfast the other day, it's eggnog, whiskey, absinthe and Foster's.
Is it just 11 weeping Australians? Fantastic!
England wins Ashes finale?
Yes,
final?
very good. Well done. Yes, the answer I was looking for was England win Ashes finale. This is the news that the England cricket team beat the Australians in the last match of this summer's Ashes series, winning it 2-1.
Woo! First things first, how pathetic is the Ashes trophy? It's hilarious. You can't go, well, and that's it. It's tiny. It looks, it's just... It's,
Do you know what the best thing is?
It's hilarious. It's
Still
like...
has the price tag on the underneath.
But because Strauss is massive, and then he's holding up this little piece of... He looks like he's holding up Pinocchio's dick.
No, it's not the real one. It's not obviously the real one's in the museum and can't be taken out of the museum because it's not, can't go anywhere. So they have to every year just get something from the gift shop. Essentially,
I genuinely thought that the Ashes was a person. Who did you think it was? Just some famous cricket bloke, and he'd done pretty well, and they just went, well, put him in a cup.
When W.G. Grace died, they burnt him, gathered him together, and said, "We'll fight for this every 2 years."
Not only that, but don't call him W.G. Grace. Give him a sort of superhero name of the Ashes.
So what, Sean, like the end of Indiana Jones, if you open it, does it swirl up and does he reform and go, "Well done"? Swirl back.
But it's a significant victory because normally you would expect to lose to the Australians at cricket. We generally do lose to the Australians at cricket because they're naturally good at it. I mean, think about what cricket is. You hit something and run. It's the criminal mentality.
I don't know why are they still playing cricket in the same way when I've already come up with a plan to improve it. I don't know if you saw my academic paper on this. Day 3, release the Jaguar. We're going to bring Graham Onions on, but he's been caught by the Jaguar.
It's true that a lot of people, you know, aren't really into cricket, and you can see why, aren't there? There aren't many games in the entire sporting calendar where you can go after 4 days of playing, who's going to win, and get the reply back, it's too early to tell.
Have you listened to Test Match Special?
Yeah.
Have you heard that? I'd never heard it before, right? So I try and get in the Ashes. And it's like, if you've not heard it, it's like your granddad's accidentally switched his phone on in his pocket. He's walking the dog. And because they've got 5 days to fill, there's nothing so boring that one of them will bring up that the other one will move him along. Yeah. They're just into whatever... I tell you what I'm going to do, Blowers. I'm going to spell out some of my favourite words. In Flemish.
You're exactly right. Did you hear there was an amazing bit? I was watching a little bit, and Shane Warne just went, "Yeah, Dave," to David Gower, "have you seen Dumb and Dumber?" And he goes, yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah, it's not as good as Wedding Crashers.
Did you hear him talk about his lunch? At one point, Shane Warne talked about what he had for lunch, right? So he made a barbecue, and there was some shrimps and a bit of chicken, a bit of salad. He said that, and the guy pressed him for more details. The guy went, "Anything else?"
It's almost like the cameramen are big fans of Mock the Week because they were back to their old pervy tricks they did in Wimbledon. You see, nothing to do, tatty Bojangles. Just so there's posh men all over the country going, "I'd knock that for 6."
That's the thing. If they get a boundary, they do that. That's it's the weirdest thing of all. They do kind of like a weird like that, like a dodgy Vegas magician.
Well, that's the umpire.
But all the crowd do as well.
Is this for real?
Yes. Yeah. They do that as if they're going to go, "Whoa, my hands are empty." But now, a bird.
But when they get someone
That's a 6, a bird.
Is that a bird?
I do that when I walk through a set of automatic doors to make it feel like I'm doing it.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I'll tell you what's quite nice.
I know something. You know the Oyster card? You know the Oyster card they use in the underground? There's a little tiny chip in that is what activates it, obviously. You can actually open the Oyster card up and take the chip out and stick it into a wand and then walk through and go to tube station just going, ding! Oh,
I'm doing that.
In other sporting news, how has Usain Bolt hit the headlines?
He won 2 gold medals.
He
didn't
He won 3.
He won 3.
From the
I think Usain Bolt is fantastic. Partly because he's just got the perfect name for a sprinter, hasn't he?
It's astonishing.
He just think he should be lane 1 Usain Bolt, lane 2 Tyson Speed, lane 3 Johnny Whoosh, and then lane 4 the Russian I go zooming off.
He's pointlessly fast, though. What's the point of it?
Yeah.
Soon, he won't register on human consciousness. We turn up to the Olympics. Is Usain Bolt running in this one? We have no way of knowing.
Like a photon has already passed through our receivers.
The athletics in the Olympics will be commentated on by a bird of prey.
2016 Olympics, he's actually trying to run in the Large Hadron Collider against a massless particle, which is the only thing that can be faster.
He did 200 metres in 19.19 seconds. It took me 5 minutes to get out of the beanbag that I was watching it in. The most impressive thing to me, like, that is impressive. Oh, God. Oh, no. What I love that celebration.
It's great,
isn't
it?
Great, man.
It's all to do. He's called Bolt, so he can do that. Whereas if Tyson Gay had won, he'd have very different. What was the big controversy at the championships?
There's a South African 800-metre runner who won the women's 800 metres, who they've now said might be a man.
Now, the interesting thing about it was that on Tuesday it came out that her levels of testosterone were abnormally high. But I'm kind of on her side, to be honest. Her name is Caster Semenya, and she won. And yes, she looks tough, but she just destroyed the rest of the field.
There's nothing they can do about it. It's what we're going to have in the Olympics. We're going to have 1 800 metres for men, 1 800 metres for women, and one race that's just Pete Burns and that wee guy that used to value antiques.
I think she's gone back to take part in a gender test.
Yeah.
Which is basically she goes into a room with Lady Gaga.
I think they actually watch while they both try and put a shelf up.
Properly
it all
offensive.
started because when they sent her to the toilet to give her test samples, she took a paper under her arm.
You've got to feel sorry for her. The only reason she's being tested is because she's really good at the 800 metres. You know, you're thinking, you know, if you go out on a first date with a woman and then you've both got to run for the bus afterwards and the woman beats you, your immediate first thought isn't, oh, crikey, she must be a bloke.
An incredible thing. Now, the IAF are saying whether you've got male or female genitals is no way of telling if you're male or female. And you think, well, it's good enough for everybody else. It's good enough for religion. It's good enough for the law. Suddenly it's not good enough for running about. Running about is the area where we have to go into gender philosophy all of a sudden and reclassify our species. So now countries can't ban gay marriages anymore. Oh, you can't marry him. He's another man. I think you'll find that not by IAF standards, he's not, because he's shit at running. Oh dear, I do beg your pardon. God bless you, Gordon and Keith.
Give it that round of applause to Russell, Fred and Andy. Now we come to our final quickfire round called Scenes We'd Like to See. This is for everyone, so we can all make your way to the performance area, please. I caught ideas for scenarios we'd love to see in the performance. Come in with their suggestions. OK, here we go. The first subject is things you wouldn't want to hear at work.
Oh, you've already given Michael his dosage.
It's not a photocopier, it's a shredder. And what have you done to your arse?
So, you probably want to know how I got the nickname Dog Botherer.
Imagine that. My first day at work, and I appear to have slipped on a wet floor. I think I might be entitled to compensation.
Do you mind if I leave early? I've got to pick up the kids before their parents get there.
He's the CEO, he's the COO, and I'm head of the agricultural division, the CIEIO.
Now, I want you all to put down those football bits that you've been sewing, because I've heard that it's somebody's very special 11th birthday. And we've got you a photo of a cake. Punch-a-wahoo, chung-wah, punch-a-wahoo.
Don't worry, this isn't the first operation I've done. Last time I got almost the whole way round before the buzzer went off.
We've run out of semi-skim, so I've topped your coffee up with breast milk.
What do you mean it's not your turn to make the coffee? This is fucking Starbucks.
Get off your shit!
Whoops! This air traffic control thing's not as easy as it looks.
I've always wanted to work in a library! If only I could read!
OK, the next topic is unlikely things to hear on a property programme.
Next, Cash in the attic. Tennis player Pat Cash has a nervous breakdown and decides to haunt his estranged family.
Today, we help Al McGrahy swap his one-bedroom cell for a Libyan place in the sun.
This couple's grand design is to turn an abattoir into an old folks' home by changing the sign.
I'm Sarah Beanie and I'm not pregnant.
You can't decide between the two properties? Well, you're an MP. Why don't you claim for them both?
Thing is, I have actually heard that in a property programme in Scotland. And remember, the prices of property can go down as well as plummet.
You know, I said those ghastly beams, what on earth are they for? It turns out they were for holding your house up.
Hello, I'm Lawrence Llewellyn Bowen, and I'm so posh I've actually got a swan for a penis.
Michael has always wanted to live in the country, and now he does. His business has collapsed, and he's living in a caravan in a field in Herefordshire.
Even on a collapsing market, you can still make money from a flat like this. We invited 3 different estate agents to come and value it, then harvested their organs.
Welcome to this episode of Homes Under the Hammer, where we attack Eamon Holmes with a hammer.
Next on Location, 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 Kirsty and Phil finally go at it like dogs.
And obviously this will all be included in the deal. Oh my God, it's back early. Quick, out of garden!
Well, we've visited 5 properties so far, but they've all had alarms, so no joy there.
Very spacious and with wonderful views, but this flat is in Dundee, so it might as well be built out of shit.
OK, at the end of that round, the points go to Frankie, Hugh and Sean. That's the end of the show. This week's winners are Frankie Boyle, Hugh Dennis and Sean Walsh. Commiserations to Andy Parsons, Fred Macaulay and Russell Howard. Thank you for watching. I'm Dara Breen. Good night.
We all love it when things go wrong on live TV, don't we? Well, I don't if I'm at work, I have to say. Anyway, next on BBC Two, Clive Anderson sees the funny side of it all.
Read all about it.
welcome to Mock the Week. I'm Dara O'Brien. Joining me this week are Andy Parsons, Holly Walsh and Russell Howard, Frankie Boyle, Hugh Dennis and Stuart Francis. We start with a round called Headliners. Here's a picture of Libyan leader Colonel Gaddafi in casual mode recently. But what does LCGA stand for?
First of all, is he Lionel Richie's melting waxwork?
Is it little cap, giant afro?
You think it's all tucked in? You think it's all squeezed in?
Is it love confuses Gaddafi's assassin? I would kill him, but look at that little smile. How could you?
Is it least convincing goatee award?
Is it lovely cap, General Armani?
Is it Leicester City's goalie arrives?
It really was an unusual transfer window when they picked up Colonel Gaddafi.
The 4 things you're not allowed at the party. Is it ladies, cocaine, Glaswegians and alcohol?
Is it...
very racist. Thanks for opening the racist door for me.
Do you actually have a racist store? I always imagine it was more like...
my children's show.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello, children, shall we open the racist door? Who's behind... Oh, it's Ching Chong Chinaman.
At the risk of being satirical, is it just Lockerbie cover-up, Gordon agrees?
Look at Radio 4 now, Dennis.
With your correct-sounding answer.
Is it what George Bush used to call him? Little crazy goddamn Arab.
I know
who will be
one,
appearing
actually.
behind the racist door in the next edition of Frankie's Funhouse on CBeebies.
That's a different show altogether. It's my late night show, Dara.
If you look at it really closely, the answer is Leonard Cohen's great aunt.
I'm genuinely going to have to get a correct answer.
Libyan Colonel... Oh, no, Libyan celebrate Gaddafi's anniversary.
It is, of course, well done, Hugh. Yes, the answer I was looking for was Libya celebrates Gaddafi anniversary. The colonel seized power at a military coup 40 years ago this week. How time flies. And the country marked the occasion with 6 days of extravagant and compulsory celebration. How was it? Did you enjoy it?
It was absolutely fantastic. I had a whale of a time. Every time the dip star were absolutely outrageous.
I would imagine that was top quality hummus, all right. Yeah.
It was fantastic. They compared it, didn't they? He said that it would be a celebration on the same lines or even better than Beijing 2008, didn't they? And the reason he said that was because apparently, as well as fireworks and stuff, they've got the world's biggest tent.
Yeah.
That was amazing, which isn't even true. The biggest tent in the world is the one Vanessa Feltz uses when she goes to Glastonbury.
It's the world's biggest tent, though. It would have taken an absolute arseache to put it up, wouldn't it? Do you think they just spent ages...
Andy, you're putting your tents up wrong.
Yeah.
They had the Italian red arrows at it. To me, all the red arrows are just cowards, aren't they? Highly skilled pilots who, while we're at war, choose to perform at country air shows. Have you seen any action recently? Yes, Farnborough. I killed a family having a picnic.
During the actual ceremony, the ceremony, the usual stuff, there was dancers, and then there was like a big eye for no properly explained reason, and people would walk into the big eye.
That's them going into the party. You should see where they're coming out. It was really gross.
And then as well as that, there was this weird kind of motif, which was they commemorated the hanging of Libyan patriots by the Italians, right?
Do you know what you can't see just out of that shot? The relatives of those people are desperately trying to guess the letters of a huge word.
A miniature of that as an executive toy?
Yeah.
It's almost like Libya forgot about Gaddafi's 40th anniversary and had to pick up a stage show on the way home. Quick, go to the garage. We need a massive international stage show.
I've got an eye. What does that represent? I don't know. Looking at things for 40 years. Good work, good work. Good work, because this obviously is what Gaddafi looks like these days. Yeah, which is, let's face it, quite rock and roll. In fact, it's exceptionally rock and roll when you see who he most resembles in the world. which is Tom Jones. And I'm just like, you couldn't just pick any photograph of Gaddafi. Look, in a hat, but not this. Oh my God, it's Tom Jones. Who was at it? Who attended, by the way?
Well, no one, really. There was one world leader who came, didn't he, in the morning? That was Berlusconi.
Berlusconi accepted the invitation when he heard that Jordan was going, although he left early when he found out it was the country.
Because it's always going to be a different party once Berlusconi goes. You know, you're like, oh, cancel the cat-headed women, send someone out to buy Boggle and Scattergoose.
They had one Western leader at it, and that was because, like, Mugabe and various people are right, but they also had, excitingly, the President George Abella of Malta and his wife, Margaret. Which just sounds like the most, like they drove there with a caravan. Traffic Vodovich coming over.
All the way through, go, oh, hot, isn't it hot?
Oh, it's hot. Oh, these sheep's eyes don't agree with me.
They were worried, weren't they, that Al Megrahi was actually going to show up. And it's a 6-day festival, and Gaddafi is a maverick. There were loads of pictures of Al Megrahi, weren't there?
There were.
And you're thinking at some stage, not only will there be all the Scottish flags flying again, but you quite expect Gaddafi to wear a Celtic scarf, have a little kilt, be eating porridge oats, watching somebody toss the caber, going, ah!
Can you excuse me while I just lock the racist door? It's good to see Megrahi's taking the Scottish lifestyle back with him, though. He's living in a tent and taking morphine every day. I think, you know, people say it's gone bad diplomatically, but it's gone not that bad considering it's Scottish people trying to do diplomacy. It's gone quite well. The average Scottish person's idea of diplomacy is going, you're a but it's okay, I like
You're opened your own racist door again.
I'm allowed to open the racist door, okay? There's a strange thing, isn't there, with Al Megrahi, where there's this defensive compassion, like you're now allowed to commit a crime providing that there's something wrong with you. Sorry I pissed in your coffee, I've got asthma.
What is the recent news about Britain's population?
Oh, there's loads of us.
There's loads!
It's now gone up to 61
million. Now, this was reported. This was reported by The Independent, for example, during the week, with baby boom drives British population to record high.
Yep.
Whereas The Sun said randy couples push population to 61 million.
You know
and brilliantly, the Daily Mail said an immigrant baby boom has fueling Britain's fastest population growth in half a century.
Sounds like there's an agenda in place. What was lovely as well was the links, because The Independent and the Mail all had links to how population is going to affect us in the future. The Sun had a link from that news story that said 11 million people have had sex in their car. Are you one of them?
I read about this story. Originally on the Daily Mail website, and it made a big thing about the immigrants. And then it said the average woman in Britain now has 1.9 children. And I thought, who are all these 0.9 people? And then I read the comments underneath, and there they were.
Hello. What we need to do, I think, is put teenagers off sex, and I am the very man for that job. You know the way they send a prisoner round sometimes to tell kids in school that crime isn't going to be good for them? They should send me round to show them what sex is like in a long-term relationship. And for realism, in the middle of it, my 2-year-old son walks in and tells us both that he needs a poo.
Hang on 1 second.
Oh, I've just got
you can lock the racist door, but you can't lock the bedroom door.
BNP, they got very excited by the baby boom statistics, didn't they? And you know, like Jerry Adams used to, when he was on the news, they always had to dub his voice, didn't they? I think for the BNP, whenever Nick Griffin's on the news, they should dub his voice with the voice of Joe Pasquale.
I think it'd be funny if it was Mr. T.
Sorry.
I was going to say, or like a Jamaican. In a patois. The BNP here.
They're trying to steal my jobs and ting.
It was great when he
Steel drums in the background. Ding, 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 ding. Ding, ding.
Does anyone hear a creaking door? We need to do some serious things to tackle the population problem, right? First of all, we should get Fiona Bruce during Antiques Roadshow to every 30 seconds go, boo! And secondly, we need a security firm patrolling Kerry Katona's vagina 24/7.
Okay, at the end of... At the end of that round, the points go to Russell, Holly and Andy. Now we play a round called Colonel Gagaffey. This game involves Holly, Stuart, Andy and Russell, so if you could make your way to the performance area, please. This is where we test our performers' stand-up skills. We spin our news generator, it settles on a topic, and anyone can volunteer jokes about the chosen subject. The winners are the people I judge to produce the funniest stuff. OK, here we go. Let's spin the wheel. The first subject is international relations. Who wants to come in on that? Andy Parsons.
Now, the new head of the Tamil Tigers, he's been arrested by Sri Lanka. Now, I always think the Tamil Tigers, they don't really sound like a terrorist group, do they? I always think they sound more like a rugby league team. It seems that even the terrorists are resorting to marketing techniques to try and get more members. Are we soon going to have the Al-Qaeda Rhinos? Will it be the Israeli Broncos against the Hamas Cowboys? Maybe it's not even the real IRA. Maybe it's Real IRA.
Thank you very much, Andy Parsons. OK, let's spin the wheel again. The subject is dating. Who wants to come in on that? Holly.
My favourite way of meeting people at the moment is this thing called Close Encounters, or I Seek You. You might have seen this. It's the people who text into the free newspapers. And they go things like, I was the girl in the grey jacket. You were the guy reading the book on the train. Call me. Have you seen these? I saw one the other day that said, I was the guy in the skin-tight orange vest top. You were the girl pointing and laughing. Call me. I was the guy in the tweed jumpsuit. You were any woman. Call me. My friend works for the only newspaper in Guernsey, and she said they tried to run one of those I Seek You columns, but they had to drop it after a week, because it was like, I was the guy in the white apron, and everyone's reading it going, oh, that'll be Dave. There's only 7 people on this island, you stalker.
Thank you very much, Holly. OK, that leaves it with Stuart and Russell. Let's spin the wheel. The next topic is the Consumer Society. Russell.
It's all a bit much, isn't it? I went into a shop the other day that said, why not try a guilt-free wrap? You're like, don't make sandwiches evil. Sandwiches are lovely. The bacon sandwich, one of the loveliest things in the world. What is a bacon sandwich? Essentially, it's bread giving a dead pig a cuddle. It's a lovely thing. I love you, Mr. Pig. Why do the Jews hate me? It's lovely. I was really down about it, and then I saw this wonderful thing that I think could only happen in the West Country. The bloke behind the counter in this shop yawned. The bloke in front of him, who did not know him, popped his finger in his mouth and went, ooh, yawn rape, and I nearly died. I had never seen a yawn rape, and now you've learned about it, you can't not do it. You'll be on a bus, you'll see an yawn rape, you can't help it. Did the bloke behind the counter headbutt him? No, he didn't. The bloke behind the counter giggled and went, it's a good job I didn't fart, wasn't it? And you're sat there going, well, the world is a better place.
Thank you very much, Russell. OK, Stuart, let's see what you've been left with. Let's spin the wheel. The next topic is health.
Oh, that was a long walk. OK, health. Money-wise, I'm set for life, provided I die next Tuesday. Ladies, I wasn't circumcised, I was circumnavigated. Just because I have arthritis doesn't mean I can't live a normal whole. I'm a paranoid schizophrenic, but you know what they say. Unfortunately for agoraphobics, the cure is just around the corner. My manic depressive buddy was attacked by a bipolar bear. My therapist says I have a preoccupation with vengeance. We'll see about that. My neighbor's in the Guinness Book of Records. He's had 43 concussions. He lives very close. In fact, just a stone's throw away. But the point. To your health, my friends.
At the end of that round, the points go to Stuart and Holly. Our next round is called If This Is the Answer, What is the Question? On the board of 6 categories. Holly, which category would you like?
Media.
Okay, media it is. The answer is 200 hours. What is the question?
Is it, what amount of drinking can the average Scot fit into a happy hour?
If an MP spent an hour travelling to work, how much would they actually claim for?
Is it over an infinite amount of time, an infinite number of monkeys would eventually write the complete works of Shakespeare? How long would it take 2 monkeys to write Hollyoaks?
When captured, is it the amount of time the Scottish government thinks Osama bin Laden should serve?
Is it how long can Peter Mandelson lie motionless without breathing?
Is it how long did it take Heather Mills to complete Celebrity Total Wipeout?
At what point does masturbation become self-harm?
Is it how long does Adrian Chiles spend in makeup before the makeup lady says, "Fuck it, there's nothing else I can do"?
I look forward to having explained that joke next time I'm plugging a DVD.
I know the actual answer. It's how many hours Channel 4 have to find because they're axing Big Brother.
That's exactly right. Well done, Russell. Thank you very much. The question I was looking for was, how many hours of their primetime schedule will Channel 4 have to fill after cancelling Big Brother? This is a story that the broadcasters announced the cancellation of the long-running reality show. Big Brother will now run only until 2010. Why has the show been cancelled?
Ratings, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It's the lowest ratings. It's gone down to 2 million. It was at 13 million. But I think they should never have had different series anyway. They should just kept the first lot in there for... for a decade.
That would be great.
Just to see how long it takes them to eat each other. I think that's what...
It's just got too predictable, hasn't it? I mean, I've not seen any of this Big Brother. I've not even read about it in the paper. But I can say with confidence that the gay one's a bit annoying, the lesbian's a bit bossy, it's a shame for the one with special needs, and the racist one stands a good chance of winning.
The thing is, it changed the language of television, Big Brother, in many, many ways. I mean, there was the voting people out and tasks, and the secondary programme, that's the big thing that they did, which not enough shows do. I would love to hear at the end of Newsnight where they go, for more on this story, why don't we go over to BBC 3 and see who's joining Paxo in the Newsnight jacuzzi?
I think it's a shame that it's gone because, now if you want to watch a room of strangers sleeping, you have to do it the old-fashioned way with a ladder.
I would like Brothers a little bit like, when it's on telly, it's a little bit like, you know when you see a dog just rubbing its arse on carpet? It's a bit like that. You just watch it, don't you? You kind of watch that for 5 minutes and then you go, what have I been doing for 5 minutes? And the dog seems to look at you and go, you know what you've been doing.
Exactly it, though, isn't it? Because everyone's going, are they going to replace it with drama? Are they going to replace it with big documentaries? And you're like, no, everybody in Channel 4 is in a big room right now and every sentence they say ends with crossed with skins. Yeah. Let's do cash in the attic. Crossed with skins. Let's call it gash in the attic. Channel 4, if you're watching, my show that I propose to you is ready to roll out right now. Robot whores. Father and son teams build robot prostitutes in their sheds. Obviously, Craig Charles is still the presenter. Sergeant Bash looks very different.
In other news, what scandals rocked the world of rugby recently?
There's a thing called Bloodgate.
Yeah, this is the story of a rugby player who basically has faked a blood injury so as he could get substituted.
Yes, Tom Williams is his name.
He was the worst actor in the world. There's footage of him, and he basically took a blood capsule out of his sock, put it in his mouth, right, fell over very dramatically, and then as he was being carried off the pitch, winked so as the TV cameras could actually see it. He's been banned for 4 months, but on the plus side, he has got a part in the opening sequence of Casualty.
I thought it would have been a lot better if he'd hidden it up his arse and just come out of the scrum like, ah! You dirty bastard!
He got the blood capsules. They came from a joke shop, I think, didn't they? And that'd be fantastic if everybody did that. If, you know, Eduardo goes down in the penalty area, you'll get a lot more sympathy if he comes up with an arrow sticking through his head.
Do you know how they invented rugby? Do you know how they invented... You know the famous story? As a wee boy at rugby school, picked up a football and his friends joined in. And do you know the irony is that if his friends had beaten the shit out of him, they'd still have invented rugby.
It's not even particularly look at it, for God's sake. He looks at him of Dawn of the Dead. He's gone too far with that. Like, he should be hanging at a shopping centre while 7 survivors with thought of shot. Like, he's like, oh no, there's an undead on the field for Harlequins. Clear the pitch, remember the undead is here.
They do a thing called cutting and stitching. So basically what happens, before the game, they cut you, and then they stitch it up, and then if they're losing, they get you to open the stitches up in the middle of the game. That would basically mean you're pretty rubbish at rugby, innit? If they go around and go, Johnny, make sure you throw it. You, Steve, make sure you kick it. Russell, we're going to cut you. In case we're losing, we need you to pick the stitches out your wound, because you can't catch the ball or do the kicking with the ball.
You're just good for bleeding, all right? Who here congeals the worst?
I think it's absolutely despicable. You'd never have this happening back in Canada. I defy you to name one Canadian athlete who's cheated.
Is it a sport? It sort of seems to be men with no teeth fighting. It's like something we invented so that fat public schoolboys could have something to do when they weren't punching each other at a wedding reception.
Well, apparently the game works. I'm not a rugby man to go to rugby school. Apparently the game works at the school level because there's a job for everyone in the class. As in the kid who's fast can go in the wing and the fat short kid can go in the front. It's really like Bash Street kids. Everyone has something to do.
And the kid who likes using scalpels to cut the stitches.
So, like, there being a position for everybody in the class. I love the fact that at last there's something for emo kids and goths who've been cutting themselves for years. They're like, get out there. We can do with you on the team.
Harlequins is a really odd name for a rugby. It sounds like it should be a soft-scented box of chocolates or something like that.
What, is it like a spirit of mischief from the Commedia dell'arte? Is that
Good God.
It doesn't scream rugby, really, does it? You know.
Well, it probably would if you squeezed it hard enough.
Are you mistreating that Harlequin again, Dennis? Yes!
Okay, at the end of that round, boys go to Frankie Hughes-Stewart. Now we come to our final quickfire round called Scenes We'd Like to See. This is for everyone, so if you can make your way to the performance area, please. I caught ideas for scenarios we'd love to see, and performers came with their suggestions. Okay, here we go. The first subject is rejected questions from this year's exams.
What colour does a Smurf go when we choke it?
Translate the following into German. 2 World Wars and 1 World Cup. Doodah, doodah.
How many pepperami big boys could you feed to Victoria Beckham through a tube before she became visible to the human eye?
What is the name of the force that pulls objects towards the centre of the Earth? Is it A, gravity, or B, magic?
Katie Price is supposedly worth £8.5 million and has got a thriving TV career. Explain.
If George Michael leaves at 8 o'clock for a 5-mile drive, when does he crash?
There are 6 lines of equal length. How long will Kerry Katona be in the bathroom?
If a train is going at 70 miles per hour, how surprised would you be?
What is amnesia? Is it A, memory loss, A, memory loss, or 4, the Battle of Hastings?
If Sally buys 3 oranges and 2 apples, how far south of Scotland is she?
Discuss the idea that Willy Wonka was a paedophile.
What is amnesia? Is it A, memory loss?
Draw a diagram of the male genitalia. Please use the tracing paper provided.
What are most Canadians renowned for saying? A.
English. Is standards declining?
Hitler, Pol Pot, Genghis Khan. Shag, marry or kill.
There's a wedding where Jane invites 20 guests and her partner Helen invites 40 guests. How angry is God?
The next topic is unlikely things to hear on a TV business show.
Well, the FTSE has had its best day since March. It went shopping, had lunch with friends and took in a show before shagging a complete stranger it met in a bar.
Our invention lets you know whether or not a girl fancies you. We call it beer.
OK, Dragons, I've developed a system that lets you get your own seat on the bus, and it involves talking slightly too loudly, then pitching yourself.
This morning, I'm asking for £500,000. And with that, I will buy 500,000 lottery tickets.
Good evening, Dragon. Oh, jeez, what the hell is that? That's Evan Davis, the host? I'm out.
OK, we may have lost some money promoting Michael Jackson 02, but let's face it, I've just signed a deal for the new Oasis tour.
Hello and welcome to Working Lunch, a show for people who are so good at business they're sat at home watching the TV in the middle of the fucking day.
Dragons, I have 3 words for you. Reggae, reggae condoms.
The last task was easy, and yet you cocked it up. I only asked you to blow the bloody doors up.
This week, the Dragons meet a retired Nigerian brigadier with an offer that sounds too good to be true.
Today, there was a hard drop on the FTSE, and I got a bruisey on my handy-wandy.
This week, the apprentices faced their toughest task ever, selling the shite Sir Alan actually makes.
OK, James, and the point's going to Frankie Hughes-Stewart. That's the end of the show. This week's winners are Andy Parsons, Holly Walsh and Russell Howard. Commiserations to Frankie Boyle, Hugh Dennis and Stuart Francis. Thank you for watching. I'm Dara Breen. Good night.
For festival highlights from Reading and Leeds, you can catch all the best bits by pressing the red button now. And how did we ever cook, clean or decorate without being shown how to by the TV expert? The funny side of them is next.
welcome to Mock the Week. I'm Dara Breen. Joining me this week are Andy Parsons, Ed Byrne and Russell Howard, Frankie Boyle, Hugh Dennis and Jack Whitehall. We start with a round called Headliners. Here's a picture of the three main party leaders, but what does TLDP stand for?
Is it Tinky Winky, Lala, Oopsie, Hope?
Is it just left or right? Does it just go Tory, Liberal Democrat, Pillock?
It's close. Or is it Tory, Labour, dunno, pass?
Is it Tatty Bojangle, lovers discuss preferences?
To be honest, it looks like the dullest fruit machine ever.
I think you can't see them in the photograph, but it's tiny ladies delight politicians.
I know what it is. It's Tories love dinosaur porn. I have this on fact, right? William Hague regularly. The only way he can have sex if he's dressed as a T-Rex. To be honest, though,
does he pin his little arms in and everything?
Nice. Is it televised leaders debate proposed?
Very good. Frankie gets that there. That's right. Yes, the answer I was looking for was televised leaders debate proposed. This is a story that Sky News has invited the three major party leaders to take part in a primetime studio debate in the run-up to the next general election. It would be the first of its kind to take place in the UK. So would you watch it?
How can Gordon Brown possibly go on television and hope that it's going to go well? With his smile, that very smile, what did he say to his media advisor? I want to look like I've just been punched up the arse. He can't stand beside David Cameron because he'll look like he's melting. The only logical debate between the two sides, we have a debate between Margaret Thatcher and Peter Mandelson because it will be like Alien versus Predator. No questions, the winner is the one who manages to devour the other's head.
They reckon that they will try and persuade them on there because they're going to say that they'll empty chair anybody who doesn't show up. Now, when Roy Hattersley didn't show up once, they booked in, didn't they? A tub of lard.
The empty chair thing is intriguing, though. Because they said... Sky News have basically said, we've booked it, it's happening, and you can turn up or not turn up. So the empty chair thing is a possibility, because Brown said he's not going to go. So there is every chance that, under the law, they have to give the chair equal amount of time to the other two. And I think the chair could win in that situation. I think it's very... Absolutely, because people would watch it and go, I'm sick of hearing these people argue, but I'm enjoing the chair. Right? Is this going to be on Sky?
Sky News
The future of your nation brought to you by Domino's.
Yeah, and every answer would come with a whoosh noise. And Andy Gray will run backwards over, well, you see what he did there. And then go...
Every time they lie, we should have a child just come on and kick them in the nads. Wouldn't that be fantastic? Just a little innocent kid. Wallop. Recession 2010. Ah!
Actually, better than that, if every time they had a lie, a child would come out and just cry a single tear. Just slowly. There is one of the objections. It's not going to happen. Of course, it's not going to happen.
Because Gordon Brown said he's not going to do it.
Yeah.
And you can't. Sky News have this weird field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. They're going, we're going to do the show anyway, and we'll do it without. You can't just make the Prime Minister do a TV show on a poxy cable news channel. You can't just go, oh, I'm sorry, I don't think I can make it that day. I'm running the country. Badly, I'll admit, but nevertheless.
It can be so predictable as well. That's because whenever Gordon Brown goes on, the policies are always to get out of the economy, we need to spend. And the only time I ever want to turn on my TV and have someone with one eye pleading with me to part with my cash is put children in need best. That's it.
It's also not going to happen on Sky. I tell you, it's absolutely not going to happen at all, because Sky relies on advertising, and who's going to advertise in the middle of a debate between the world's dullest politicians? Every break, there's just going to be one long ad for the Dignitas Clinic. That'll be...
They're talking about having this hand-picked audience, and you're thinking, no, that will be dull. Get in a few rowdies, and then each time Nick Clegg stands up, you're going to have a whole bunch of people going, who are you? Who are you? Who are you?
Nick Clegg could get an actor to stand in for him, couldn't he? Because nobody really knows who he is. People the next day would be going, oh, Nick Clegg was very relaxed, wasn't he? Very authoritative, yes, and surprisingly like Jeff Bridges.
Nick Clegg could get one of the animatronics from Walt Disney. He could get, like, the bear that plays the guitar to come out and go, Nick Clegg, I didn't understand much of his policies, but he played the banjo exceptionally well.
It's got to be a better idea than PMQs. Do you ever watch that? I mean,
it's fantastic. I love PMQs.
Oh, no, it's not. Every time somebody agrees, have you ever made a point and someone got a good point and have your mates go, "Rah, rah." The noise they make, it sounds like somebody's put Boris Johnson in a blender. That is...
It's so good because they're so childish during Prime Minister's questions. It's so fun. That's why I want to see in the debate them to be like, right, let's get proceedings underway. Yeah, that's what your dad said last night when he was bombing your brother.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
You know, they're talking about presenting this. David Frost is the front runner. How is David Frost going to present? Are they going to pull his head out of the freezer it sits in beside Walt Disney's, defrost it in the microwave? The last time David Frost interviewed three men, they were following a star.
I will say, as a sequel, Frost Clegg doesn't quite have that Oscar ring to it.
It's also quite likely to go number 10. Who wants to live in a house like this?
I think the other thing with David Cameron, I think, and it's because he's posh, and we all know that, but I think he should go on the defensive a little bit more, because I realise that I'm quite posh, and I've always taken the view, you know, if people give me shit for it, sticks and stones may break my bones, but screw it, I'm with Booper. Kind of things around us, you know.
My fundamental objection to the idea of a debate between the leaders is that it is an American idea. I can't bear the idea that it's an American idea. It's like one of those ideas that we've imported, like nobody has a school leavers disco anymore. They all have a high school prom, and they all turn up in little bow ties and a ball gown.
How do you know? Because he's cruising around in an empty limo. Yeah, you like the hip-hop?
Ladies.
It is so half-baked. If they want that to be properly American, they want to get one of the nerdy kids to come in with a rifle and shoot everyone.
In other news, which party leader is also likely to appear on TV?
Nick Griffin is going to be on Question Time, laying it down.
BNP, Nick Griffin, yes.
Nick Griffin appearing on Question Time. What nobody's told Nick Griffin is that this particular episode is being hosted by the Wu-Tang Clan. Brixton Academy. Hey, Method Man here. I believe our first question is from Mike Tyson.
Every single photo you see of him in the paper, he always looks like his wife's having sex with Ainsley Harriott.
I'm sorry. We can't trust people every week on this show, and so welcome to the game, Nick. You look like Fat Hitler. Yeah. There's no two ways around it. He looks like a jowly Adolf.
He looks like a plucked owl that's been fast-tracked for management at Greg's.
Everyone says, everyone's defending the notion of putting the BNP on Question Time because everyone says, well, when they go on, they'll just sound like idiots and it'll show themselves up for the idiots that they are. Like, if someone's an idiot, no one's going to vote for them. The Mayor of London is Boris Johnson, right?
The Equality Commission or whatever have now said that they can't have only white members. They're not allowed to do that. They're going to have to start accepting black and Asian members in the BNP. It's going to be fantastic. Say, Trevor McDonald, News at 10, I have become president of the BNP. That would just sort the whole thing out.
That's what they need, though. Yeah. If they had some black people in there, maybe they'd get to go to some proper parties, get laid and chill the fuck out.
We never know how to punish them as well with the BNP. It's like the guy that threw an egg at Nick Griffin. Don't throw an egg, throw a samosa.
There is a fear, obviously, that if you legitimise a political leader by bringing him onto this thing. But, it's Question Time. It's not like the BBC are simply opening the doors to Nick Griffin. He's not appearing on Saturday Kitchen, which I think... or he's the new doctor. That'd be particularly weird if, oh, my God, the new doctor, it's Nick Griffin. And Nick Griffin points to his black assistant and goes, well, you're out for a start. This TARDIS is full.
The most interesting thing about Nick Griffin, I think... do you know this fact about him? He went to an all-girls school. He was one of only 2 boys at an all-girls school, right? And I'm just going to play amateur psychologist here, right? I reckon the other boy at that school was incredibly good-looking, good with the ladies, and black.
At the end of that round, ladies and the points go to Frankie, Hugh and Jack. Now we play a round called Thief of Gagdad. This game involves Ed, Jack, Andy and Russell, so if you could make your way to the performance area, please. This is where we test our performers' stand-up skills. We spin our news generator. It settles on a topic and anyone can volunteer jokes about the chosen subject. The winners are the people I judge to produce the funniest stuff. OK, here we go. Let's spin the wheel. First subject is sleep. Edbert.
Does anyone here sleep with someone who snores? Yes? Well, I envy you, because I lie awake next to someone who snores. My wife snores terribly, and part of what keeps me awake is lying there going, how do you sleep through this? I can't sleep through it, I'm only next to it. The noise is inside your head. And how come you can sleep through that? But the sound of me making a sandwich in our kitchen, that wakes you up. There is no way me making a sandwich makes more noise than you're making right now. She snores. So she said the cutest thing to me one time, though. She says, do I not sound like a kitten purring? Bless. No. You sound like a cat drowning in porridge. If I had a kitten made that noise, I'd put it down. Apparently, she had her nose broken a couple of times when she was a kid. Didn't teach her. She's still bleeding snoring.
Thank you very much, Ed. OK, let's spin the wheel again. Subject is health. Andy Parsons.
With flu jabs now, what they do, don't they, is they put a little bit of flu into you to help you combat the flu. I was thinking by that argument, surely you should be able to have the odd cake to help you fight obesity. Because let's face it, you can do too much exercise, can't you? You know, did you see Madonna's arms? They didn't look right, did they? Like half human, half Terminator. Of course, that's the problem when you're always picking up small African children going, no, no, no.
Thank you very much, Andy. OK, that leaves it with Russell and Jack. Let's spin the wheel. The next subject is television. Who wants to come into that? Jack.
I get very frustrated with pretty much everything on television. I find adverts at the moment particularly annoying, like the banking adverts, because they're trying to portray bankers as being nice people. Like, they've got this one at the moment for, like, a mobile bank that travels around the country, and you walk in and there's your friendly local bank manager acting like a hairdresser, like, nattering away. You know, you walk up to the till, it's like, oh, how was your holiday? I went camping. Oh, why did you go camping? Because you lost all of my money! The only option I've got is just to not watch TV at all, because everything annoys me. And I've got quite a lot of people that pressure me into doing that as well. Like my dad, he's quite old-fashioned. He's always saying, you don't need to watch television. You should do other things, better things, more edifying things. Don't watch TV, Jack. You should read. Read the great novels. They're entertaining, they're educational. Even read the Bible. The Bible is engrossing. It's enthralling. The stories of Jesus, they're encapsulating, they're invigorating. I'm like, no, Dad. If I wanted to be entertained by 12 people sat round a table trying to impress some bearded Jewish know-it-all that thinks he's some kind of deity, I will watch The Apprentice.
Thank you very much, Jack Whitehall. OK, Russell, let's see what you've been left with. Let's spin the wheel. That's fitness.
Could have been camel toes. Now, I was in the gym the other day. I was in a locker room, and a 5-year-old boy ran in and jumped into a locker. Now, sometimes you know you're just going to have an incident, right? You could hear him in there giggling. He was like, and you knew what he was going to do. He was going to jump out and scare his mates, because his mates appeared seconds later, like, where's Stephen gone? Where's Steve? He was near a minute ago. This is most irregular. And he waited, not for his mates, but for 3 huge naked men. It was fantastic. They were kind of walking past, and this little kid leapt at those men like a cat with rabies. It was incredible, right? Just from nowhere, the noise they made, I've never heard a noise like it. They sounded like a tugboat getting molested. Like, His long-suffering dad is in the showers, obviously heard this and went, that'll be my bloody boy! Ran back, confronted this glowing hellbeast and went, Stephen, what have I told you about acting up in public? And this little kid cut his dad down with one very simple sentence. Dad, your willy's moving? You're just there going, oh, the world is a better place.
Thank you very much, Russell. At the end of that round, the points go to Ed and Jack. Our next round is called If This Is the Answer, What Is the Question? On the board are 6 categories. Jack, which category would you like?
Travel, please.
OK, your category is travel. The answer is 1 in 500. What is the question?
Is it after how many miles would the Proclaimers realise they'd made a massive mistake?
Is it how many of my sexual fantasies involve my partner? And, to be honest, in that one, she's introduced me to her sister.
Is it how many traffic wardens will make it to the kingdom of heaven?
Is it how many of Jeremy Clarkson's thoughts are about something other than himself? and that one is about a car.
Is it if we're all after a partner who's 1 in a million, what will most of us settle for?
Is it what proportion of complaints to the BBC are about Adrian Childs' face being broadcast before the watershed?
How many documentaries on the History Channel aren't about pharaohs or the Nazis?
How many Star Trek fans have touched a real woman?
Why did you say that in such a camp way?
Is it how many Daily Mail readers have first-hand experience of what they're outraged by?
What is the last response you want to the question, what are my chances, Doctor?
Is it the number of London Midland trains that were running last Sunday?
You're absolutely right, Andy Parker. Thank you very much. Yes, the question I was looking for was how many of London Midland's Sunday train services running as normal last weekend? Thousands of people were forced to cancel travel plans or put up or replace in buses after London Midland cancelled all but one of its 500 services.
On the plus side, it was the first time this year that London Midland only had one train that was actually running late.
Also, you've got to feel slightly sorry for a train spotter that day who didn't check on the internet. It's like, going to be a big one, here.
Yeah, train spotters, people who told themselves in front of trains, and villains who tie women to trains with piano players going diddle-dung, diddle-dung, ding, 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 ding. Keep it going, keep it going. There'll be one along in an hour or so. Diddle-dung, diddle-dung. I'm bored with it. Ding, 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 ding.
You've hit upon a lovely point. Maybe there was somebody who was going to commit suicide. He went, I'm going to throw myself in front of a train. They went there, no trains. They thought, it's a sign. I'm going to live my life to the max. And he went outside and got hit by a replacement bus.
What do you mean somebody was going to throw themselves under a train? This is Birmingham. Everybody was going to throw themselves under a train. I went to throw myself off a bridge, but there was a queue. Are there 500 trains going to Birmingham on a
it's all over the Midlands. They wasn't. I mean, that would be like, I'm sorry you've missed that train, but there's another one along in 8.6 seconds.
Why would anybody be going to Birmingham on a Sunday? Who's going? Grief counsellors?
Imagine being on the one train on the Sunday that is going from Birmingham to Liverpool. It'll be like the last chopper out of Saigon, wouldn't it?
They made it voluntary for people to work on a Sunday, and they used to offer the double time, and then they didn't, and so people no longer volunteered to work on a Sunday. It's not like phoning in sick; it's like phoning in sensible. It's what they did. It's like, yeah, you gonna offer us double time anymore? No. Oh, can't make it. Sorry, I came down with a dose of self-respect on Friday.
They've got no trains running, but they do have replacement buses. And, we'll just get them to drive the train. Because surely a bus is a bit harder. You've got to steer. The train is just forward, stop. Forward, stop. It can't be. Have you ever seen a more depressed sight than when you see a train driver come into a tube station? They're not happy people, are they? They just seem like that. Lights.
No, don't make the darkness appear again. Would you think it could? Because it is. I mean, I'm sure there's a technical element to driving a train, but it does feel like forward, back, stop, right? They could have just gone, well, you're all here. Surely one of you would like a go at driving a train.
I always fancy that.
Yeah, but the buses, man, if you want to know how important trains are in our society, stand outside London Victoria coach station and watch the coach that's pulling out with 2 Inverness written on it. The faces of the people in that coach, they look like the faces of dogs in a vet. People who are on a 17-hour bus journey, and when they get off, it's going to be 1973.
They're also not incompetent. They're not incompetent on trains. They're absolutely not incompetent on trains. Incredibly imaginative, because they come up with... If a train is delayed, they come up with the most fantastic reasons for it. And the one I loved, I was on the train once that went... Stuck outside Peterborough, and the thing went on, it went, "We apologise for the wait outside Peterborough. This was due to a delay."
There's always some poor fat bloke in a fluorescent top going, "Here's a replacement bus service." They always get in. You know, it's never kind of the dynamic train drivers down, you know, all sexy and like that. It's just that fat man. It's a Sunday, come on. All right, then.
Do you not get annoyed by the noise? It drives me mental. You know the bit where the buffet guy comes on and just sort of lists the stuff that's in the buffet? He's not even memorised. There's like chocolate bars and cups of tea and like salmon. There's only like 6 things. Just memorise it. Oh, just don't tell us at all, because it's the sort of stuff you'd expect to find in a buffet.
Why would you need to be told anyway? When you walk into a shop, they don't go, "Hello, welcome to the shop. In the shop, we have magazines over there, some sweets over here. We have cigarettes behind me here." Like
no, what's in a buffet will be surprised if you've got a partridge down there.
But what's great is when there's someone who's too eager, there's some sandwiches in here just crying out to be eaten.
I saw a guy the other day, he was drunk on the train, he went into the loo and he got stuck in it, and he couldn't open it, and he was getting really panicked, and the train conductor came around to try and get him out, and he couldn't put it, and I was just sat there, and this is really bad, because he was really getting quite distressed, and they said, "Look, what we're going to have to do is wait till we get to the next stop, and then we'll get someone to get you out of the loo when we get in there," and there was this pause, and then I just heard his voice from inside just say, "Tell my family I love them."
My favourite irony of the thing was that one of the stations that there were no trains leaving from had a Yo Sushi in it. That must have really felt terrible. You're sitting there watching the plates go past on a tiny train. Well, that small bit of rice and fish is going to reach its destination a lot faster than I will.
My favourite announcement, once I heard this guy going, "We're going to have to go very slowly through Swindon because there are some ragamuffins on the line." And then it was so lovely because we sort of went past and there was about 15 kids swearing at the train like that, and the train announcer went, "Look at those arseholes." We were all kind of cheering and that, and then about a minute later this woman looked very angry. She's on her phone like that, just kind of going, "Right, Matthew, it's your mother here. Revising, are you? Yeah? I've just seen you swear at the
I had another fantastic announcement, which was outside Gloucester or somewhere, coming into Gloucester, and he went, "We apologise for the delay outside Gloucester. This is due to chronic underinvestment in the rail industry."
OK, at the end of that round, the points go to Russell and Andy. Now we come to our final quickfire round called Scenes We'd Like to See. This is for everyone, so if you can make your way to the performance area, please. I caught ideas for scenarios we'd love to see, and the performers come in with their suggestions. OK, here we go. The first subject is bad things to hear from a tour guide.
Please don't take photos of the natives because they believe that you're taking part of their soul. Apart from that, enjoy Norwich.
Hello, my name's Janet. I'm your holiday rep, and basically, I'll be giving out morning after pills like they were Smarties.
Good morning. I'm afraid this is the loudest.
Venice is a most historical city, famous for its... Oh, shit, it's flooded. Everyone get back on the bus.
A lot of you will be wondering why there are so many wonderful foreign treasures on display here at the British Museum. And the answer is quite simple, really. Gun beats spear.
Don't worry, this castle does cater for the disabled. They bring you a sandwich while the rest of us go up the steps to look at it.
Let's have a little song, shall we? Come
Coming up later on, we've got the topless donkey derby and who's got the funniest willy competition. Yes, it's going to be the best saga holiday you've ever had.
I know that a lot of you can't bear to leave Thailand, which is why I've hidden drugs randomly in your luggage.
And as we enter the next room, I need you all to be very quiet because we have technically broken in.
If you need anything at all, I'll be under your bed.
And if you look out of the window on your left, you'll see the side of the road that we should be driving on.
Of course, you have to respect local customs. On the right-hand side, you'll see a woman being burnt at the stake, and on the left, Dundee Town Hall.
Well, this is the deepest, darkest bit of the caves. And unless you give me £20 each, it's where you're staying.
And according to Wikipedia, the East Wing was built in the year Dougie is a homo.
We're now leaving the green zone. Pop on your flak jackets. This is the real Baghdad.
An adult and 2 children is £10. But enough about my trip to Cambodia.
Our next topic is unlikely things to hear on a breakfast show.
If the woman I picked up last night is watching, help yourself to cereal, but get out of the flat by the time I get home.
And now it's time for Thought for the Day. That was a good one.
You're listening to Six Music. Yes, you. No, just you.
Welcome to Travel Report. We've got a text here from Dave on the M5 who says, ha ha ha, every morning you leave for work, I pop round and shag your wife.
So if you're trying to get in via Junction 2, stop it. It's against nature, and the Bible says no.
Next, we speak to Fern Britton about having her stomach stapled, this time to an enormous chocolate cake.
In other traffic news, if you're on the M11 headed towards Middlesbrough, I would turn around because it's a shithole.
Hello, I'm doing a survey into the effects of replacing milk on your Weetabix with Red Bull!
And we can see there's been an accident northbound on the M1, and it is a beauty.
Welcome to Radio Tourette's, you shit monkeys.
You may think of it as a breakfast show. I had mine at 4:30.
Later, Vanessa Feltz will be joining me on the settee, and I'll be bouncing through the fucking ceiling.
OK, at the end of that round, the points go to Frankie, Hugh and Jack. And that's the end of the show. This week's winners are Andy Parsons, Ed Byrne and Russell Howard. Commiserations to Frankie Boy, Hugh Dennis and Jack Whitehall. Thank you for watching. I'm Dara Breen. Good night.
To catch Radio 2's star-studded concert from the Blackpool Illuminations, press the red button now. Or there's brand spanking new comedy on BBC 3 with the office slackers we know as the Lunch Monkeys.